Bills fans, I'm not even going to attempt to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you a white lie. I'm not going to tell you a partial lie. The truth is, this is likely the worst season y'all will have in the last 5 years.
Shut up, the Bills! It's not outside! It's not outside!
Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, Bills, mafia, yeah. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Homie, now listen, everyone play their position. Buffalo got a tradition. They say we trippin', they better get out our way. Top of the table, we flippin', we on a mission. Got an unstoppable team, continue to follow your dream by any means. Buffalo, get in the Super Bowl ring. Cause we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, Bills, mafia, yeah. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Mafia up in your city, time to get gritty. Screaming and yelling, we bugging. Look at the red and blue.
This is an MVP year for Josh Allen. As an MVP voter, I said this last week. Josh Allen, he looks like an MVP. When you vote for MVP, and I can speak for myself, I think I'm one of 50 voters, you look at a couple things. Who's the best team in football? Who's the best player on that team in football? What do they look like as the best player on that team in football? And how much talent is around that best player on that best team in football?
Cause we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo.
And a good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Coast to Coast podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Beyond 716, and here with the one and only Whittle 2K. And today, we kick off the 2025 Buffalo Bills season. Can you believe it's here? Felt like it was taking forever to get here, but officially, training camp has opened at beautiful St. John's Fisher University in Pittsford, New York. 24th time this century we've had it there. And there'll be 11 practices, and I believe 10 are open to the public as they get ready for the red and blue scrimmage on August 1st. And we got Hard Knocks coming up on the 5th, Whittle, and we just have a few things going on. Just to say the least, we have up to the preseason game on August 9th against the New York Giants. How you doing, Whittle? Wasn't it great to see that first image? Like, I woke up in the morning, I go right to Twitter, and boom, I see Josh coming out, that tunnel, that first, it's almost like welcoming you to the 2025 season. It's just exciting stuff. So how you doing today, Whittle?
I'm doing great, man. I can't complain. Finally, right? We've been kind of struggling to what to talk about, and kind of trying to find things to present. And finally, football's back.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Like the team
One to
is,
remember.
it's almost here, man. Like you're getting a little taste. You saw the guys in the uniforms and out on the field and running around. Some familiar faces. Trey White is back, looking great. And man, I'm just extremely happy that football's back. The Bills are taking the field, and today we're going to have a in-depth conversation. The first day of training camp, we're going to kind of review last year, the playoffs. We're going to review the offseason. We're going to review the draft. We're going to review, what we've seen so far. We're going to talk about some expectations. We're going to talk about, where we see this team going and how confident we are in the direction that this franchise is going. And it won't just be myself and Beyond. We have Ryan Thomas and our guy Rob Crippen from the Nickel City crew. He's joining us today. full disclosure, me and Rob have had some back and forths over the Buffalo Bills. But listen,
Yes.
at the end of the day, like Rob's a good dude. I'm a
Yep.
good dude. Like we're all Bills fans, and ultimately, no matter how much we fight and disagree and don't see eye to eye on these things, the ultimate goal for for all of us as Bills fans is to finally bring a Lombardi to Orchard Park and put it in that trophy case so we can walk into any space we want to, any football conversation. Nobody can ever say, how many Super Bowls do you have? You never won a Super Bowl. You guys are poverty. We can put
Mhm.
all of that to bed with one win. We beat all of the allegations of
Yep.
being a poverty franchise with one Super Bowl win. You know that scene in Infinity War
Yep.
where or was it Endgame? Oh, I think it was Endgame.
I'm
No,
thinking
no, it was
Endgame.
Infinity War.
Wait, was it?
It was
I'm
Infinity
not
War.
the.
No, it was
I get.
Infinity War
I
where
get my. I'm terrible with
Thanos
movies.
is like beating up the Avengers and Iron Man looks at Iron Man looks over at Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange holds up that one finger. Bro, this is it, man. Like I I got a great feeling about this year, but I don't want to tease too much.
Yep.
So we'll get right into it. And before I don't want anything to I don't want anything to impede this conversation or to mess up the flow. So I appreciate everybody that's here. I know we're gonna have stragglers coming in a little bit later, but let's get these ads out of the way now. We're going to go directly into our sponsors, and then we're going to bring up our guests, and we're going to have a conversation that I hope encompasses all factions of Bill's Mafia. I want everybody's opinion, everybody's thought process to be heard and validated and given the space to be expressed and to be respected. So without further ado, let's get these ads. Let's do that. Where's the thing at? Can you hit bro, where's the button at?
Should be here. I'll take care. The Bills fans will take care of the Bills. I got you.
For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliott Apollos, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Do Champions. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Do Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Do Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs.
And we are back.
Yeah. All right. So, like I said, without further ado, man, let's get this thing out of the way, and let's bring up our guests, Ryan Thomas and Rob Crippen. Let's do it. What's up, fellas?
Round of applause. How you doing?
What's good, man? How you
Good,
doing?
man.
How y'all doing tonight, man? Thank you for having us on, man. I appreciate it. Man.
Thank you for
Thank-
having me. I'm looking forward to it.
It's an honor to have
Yeah,
you both here. Thank you.
I definitely appreciate it because, you know, I get it that when you go into spaces where it's not your platform or it's not your particular space, it's difficult for people to want to come in and express themselves freely. And listen, this is not. I'm here to listen. I'm here to engage. I'm here to we gonna do our thing, Rob. But listen, man, like I want everybody to like everybody can't come up here. Everybody doesn't want to come up here and speak publicly or in front of live audiences. So I want people's opinions or their thought processes to be validated and to have a platform. And listen, if you're in the chat or if you are watching on Twitter or if you're watching on YouTube or whatever, make sure you like and subscribe to Do Champions as well as the Coast to Coast podcast. But on top of all of that, definitely, post your comments. If you have questions, post the questions. I will definitely make sure that we'll bring them up to the panel, and we want to have a conversation. Like all of these, everybody up here loves the Buffalo Bills. Everybody watching right now, in some sort, whether you're a fan of the Bills or not, you love the NFL, you love football, and we're going to talk ball tonight. So let's get right into it. Last year, the 2024 season, the Buffalo Bills finished the number 2 seed in the conference with a record of 13-4. That was supposed to be a down year, everybody said. Matter of fact, when the video for the intro video starts, that clip from Emmanuel Acho is from the beginning of last season, where everybody wrote us off like, Bills Mafia, I'm letting you know, y'all don't have a shot. Like, it's over. You don't have talent. You don't have this. You don't have that. And I think most of us Bills fans, I know I was one of the Bills fans that said, no, I think we're still going to be good because, we have Josh Allen. I think the defense is coached extremely well, and we still have a lot of talented guys that are just not household names. So I'm not sure, Ryan, what did you think of the Buffalo Bills last season going into the year?
Going into the year, I was really excited. I thought it was a new opportunity with a new look, a lot of, new young players that they'd invested top picks in, whether it's Kincaid or Coleman. Obviously, could James Cook kind of take that next step too? I think that was a real big question, and he answered that with flying colors. I think, that was a huge factor in their success last year. Can't, make no bones about that, but there were always, the outliers of the questions of whether or not they could just get over that proverbial hump that is the Kansas City Chiefs. And unfortunately, that was what ended the season once again. So the season is very hard for, I think, even all of us. I don't want to speak for anybody, but there's so much good to take from last season. But for that season to end the way that it did, that result, it's hard for some of us to kind of go back and take the good out of it. But it was a great season, and it was a season that I think was far better than what many expected, myself maybe even included. Despite my excitement, the results were very exciting.
Beyond, I mean, I know you and I, we definitely spoke before the season started. Listen, I had the Bills last year winning 10 or 11 games, tops. Still winning the division. But I thought we would get knocked out in the divisional round. I thought if we ran into the Texans, the Ravens, or the Chiefs, I thought any of those teams could have knocked us out. So I had us going, like I said, 10 or 11 wins, winning the division, and then get knocked out in the second round. 13 games, and I mean, really, like it's like 13-3 because the last game, Josh Allen played a snap, and then we sat down. Like everybody that meant something. Everybody important sat down after that. So we gave up the last game. Plus, we wanted to screw the Patriots out of having a higher pick. So we gave up the last game, and we ended up going to the AFC Championship game. I went to the Ravens playoff game in Buffalo. I was like before the game, and David was, shout out to my man David. He, I got my ticket from him. And we sat next to each other, and like he's looking at me before the game. We're sitting in the stands, and he's like, "Bro, like, what's up with you? Like you good?" I'm like, "Dog, I think we're gonna lose, man." He's like, "No, we're not. We're winning." Like, what are you talking about? And I said, "I don't know, bro. I don't know." Next thing you know, Lamar Jackson interception. I'm like, "All right, okay." Then Lamar Jackson with the fumble, Von Miller, his old geriatric self picks it up, scoops it up, runs down the field, and I'm like, yo, we're really about to win this game and go to the AFC Championship game. So I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't think we were as bad as people thought. I didn't think that we were as good as we were. Like I think that team last year overachieved. So that's my spiel on it. Rob, give me your synopsis. And you already know I got receipts for what you said at the beginning of the year last year. So let the people know, Rob. Let the people know how you felt. Yeah, let the people know.
Once again, I really appreciate you and Beyond having me on tonight. Greetings from Nickel City Crew, my co-host and I. Adam Dump Truck. Rupsick will be hollering at you guys right again starting this coming up Friday on our live shows starting at 6 o'clock. So we're right back at it now that training camp is here. And Whittle, I love that you introduced me that way because you already know that we've had some epic battles on Twitter. You made me love Twitter. I did not like Twitter before when I started out the podcast years ago with all the arguing. And then you just brought something out of me that I did not know that was in me. And I guess my mother was right. I should have been a lawyer. I love to argue. I do debt collections for a living. I'm a Buffalo boy through and through. So because of that, you brought something out of me, man. We definitely had some battles, and the season coming into it, I was still upset. I was still butthurt over Stephon Diggs being traded. I did not think that Everybody Eats was an offense that was sustainable. More on that in the future. I won't tease my own show, but you know, I had reservations about the actual efficiency of it. A lot of times when you have an offense that you talk about, let's get everybody involved. Let's find a way to spread the ball around, things like that. That oftentimes is an offense that really doesn't have a number one guy to go to that kind of, reliable, like Josh and 14 were. They were just Mr. Reliable. Stephon Diggs got open for him when he needed him on those money downs. So I was definitely skeptical. Whittle, you had the receipts, and I was pleasantly surprised. I was a hater of Everybody Eats all the way up until the AFC Championship game. There was really nothing else I could say. It worked for last year. I have reservations about if it can continue to work, but for the 2024 Buffalo Bills that you're referring to, hey, it worked. Egg on my face. It worked.
No. All right, so Rob, I want to jump in real quick and say there is merit to your argument against Everybody Eats, because in key situations and scenarios throughout the season, when we needed a bucket, it was difficult at times to get it. So there is merit, right? But it's hard to argue against the number 2 scoring offense in the league, number 1 in the efficiency, number 1 in points per drive, number 1 in actually, I don't think we're number 1 in points per drive. If you're watching, correct me if I'm wrong, we were either number 1 in points per drive or number 1 in points per play. But I know we were very, very good from an analytical standpoint in scoring. The problem, which was new to us, was getting off the field on third down. That was something that we didn't really deal with in the regular season up until last year. Last year was the real issue. So shout out to, obviously to the quarterback, Josh Allen. Shout out to Joe Brady and the running back room and the offensive line, because those guys really held it down throughout the year. They really, really change the identity of what this Buffalo Bills team is. And yes, Everybody Eats. And I actually have an Everybody Eats shirt.
Oh, God.
I felt like it was overkill. So I said, I'll leave that alone. If he ever invites me onto Nickel City Crew, I'm wearing it there for sure.
You definitely have an invitation this coming up here, but God, dog.
You gotta, Whittle, you gotta send me the site you bought that, and I'm gonna buy one and wear it on Rob's show.
Absolutely.
What did Brandon Bean say
Rob's
right
a
after we lost
VIP
that?
customer. Rob's a VIP customer.
What did Brandon Bean say to us and to the fans after we lost that game against was it Houston and Baltimore and then Houston? What did he say after Houston? He knew that it was broken. So you can only get me to say that, it worked so much. But it worked.
So,
but he went out and got Amari Cooper. And we talked about that on your X space, on your Twitter space right after that loss, because we were all dejected. So it worked, but he understood that they still do. They still need an alpha. Maybe one of those guys emerges from this year's group. We'll see. Yeah. I'm still hands up in the air. I admit the 24 Bills did not need Stephon Diggs.
So to be fair about the 2024 season, I think some of the issues with the offense and as far as the passing game is concerned, some of those issues was Josh Allen. And I know it's very taboo to say that 17 does not,
walk on water
and piss excellence. Right. That's what he does. He pisses excellence, and everybody should bask in his sunlight as he walks by. And for the most part, that is the way it is. I'm wearing this shirt right now because of, that's the king. He's the king of Buffalo. We understand that. But if you go back to the Houston game, and the Ravens game was an anomaly. I was there for that game. the week 4 blow, like, bro, it was 21-10. We had the ball. We were in the middle of a drive, and Joe Brady must have had something cold and had a brain freeze and caused one of the worst plays I've ever seen in my life. It was a trick play. If you have Josh Allen, he is the trick play. You don't need to do anything extra special. Just give 17 the ball and let guys get open, and then we'll go from there. But against Houston, there were other issues there. He had Mac Hollins wide open in the first quarter for like Mac Hollins could have basically, crib walked into the end zone if he hits that throw. And he didn't. He missed him. He sailed the ball, at least 5 yards over top of his head. He had Dalton Kincaid down the seam. He missed him. He had multiple throws to Shakir and Samuel that he just missed. Throws to Dawson Knox that he missed. Josh was bad that game. I didn't think that was a. I don't know if that was the game that determined that was
the catalyst for everybody not working.
Right. I don't think that was that. I think that was just Josh not working that one time. But you definitely, when you see the offense sputter the way it did for 2 weeks in a row, you got to do something. Sometimes it's like, I know that the coach is a good coach, and I know the players are playing bad, but I can't get rid of the players, so I got to do something. And a lot of times coaches get fired just because we need to shake things up. So in this situation, they needed to shake things up, and the best thing to do was go out and get a guy who at least gave the impression of a number one receiver, and that was, Amari Cooper. And for what? For the Tennessee game, it worked, and then 2 plays in the Kansas City regular season game, it worked, and then that was kind of it for Amari.
I agree.
But going forward, after the season was over, after the playoffs were done, we get to the offseason. And, how do you guys feel the offseason went? Beyond, everybody here kind of knows what you and I think. So I'm not going to give my opinion. It's in the videos. Beyond, if you want to lead off, and then we'll go to Rob, and then we'll go to Ryan.
There's one quick thing I want to make Rob feel better about. I'm going to give you a little something to chew on.
Poking me. Y'all keep poking me.
No.
Everybody eats T-shirts, everything. I mean,
listen, I just want to say one thing about everything eats. I think it has multiple meanings. I think it's also a team thing. I think the Buffalo Bills as a defense, we know, as a whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Kind of defense, right? Everybody contributes. There's a lot of, we have a lot of guys on rotation, especially on the line. Everybody eats on the defense too. They don't say it out loud, but they do.
Okay.
We also took that and put it towards the offense. I think the Bills wanted to sort of reset the culture after losing so much leadership this past offseason that I think it was just a way to kind of bring them together as the new iteration of the Bills of Josh Allen's era is brought to light. But I'm going to make you feel a little bit better. I went through some Super Bowl teams since 2017. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to give you the top receptions from 4 Super Bowl champion teams.
Give it to us.
68.
I knew Ryan was going to jump on that.
68, 70, 87, and 74. Now, the 87, ladies and gentlemen, is James White, the running back from New England, who had 87 receptions that year. What I'm trying to say is this. I agree with you, though. I agree that if it's 3rd and 6, it's a big game. Crowd's going wild. We're playing Kansas City. We're playing Philadelphia with that nasty defense. Do we have that guy, right, that Josh can – a couple guys that we can depend on? I agree with you. So I think you're partly right, too. I just wanted to kind of back you up, but also make you feel better hey, there have been some recent Super Bowl champions that haven't had that 100-plus reception guy. So hopefully that's us. So doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it has happened 4 times since 2017. So that was one thing. But about the offseason, I think Brandon Beane did as much as he could as what we could do with. He did a great job re-signing our core. I think that's the number one thing we all got to look at. You look at the Christian Benford contract. Did you look at some of the contracts some of these corners are getting? I think he did a tremendous job in terms of that. We're still hoping James Cook gets signed. We'll see what happens there. But again, you can't sign everybody. That's just like he said today in his press conference. But overall, I think the Bills did a really good job. I can't. What's crazy? The worst position on his team for depth is quarterback. I mean, that's the only position I'm worried about in terms of real depth on this team. Maybe safety, but safety, we have some options at safety I think could step in. But wanted to get your guys' feelings on that. I don't know if we've ever seen. I see behind you those awesome pictures of Bruce Smith and Thomas and all those great Sports Illustrateds. Those teams had more Hall of Famers, but I can't remember a deeper team in my time root for the Bills, and I'm in my early 50s now, than this Buffalo Bills team. And I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that.
Ryan, you take it. You take it. I'm
Okay,
taking too many. Everybody eats bullets right now. I gotta regain myself. I know you were trying to support me. I know Whittle has beaten me up throughout the last year. That I'm weakened right now. Let me regain my strength. Ryan, please.
So
tell us about the offseason.
I want to start off by saying that I respect everybody's opinion. Rob and I have shared mics on shows. You know, I've been on his, he's been on mine. We've battled on Twitter. You know, I don't think there's any wrong. I think your opinion is your opinion, and we all love to back up our opinions, and I respect the hell out of that. I will kind of piggyback off of Beyond's point. There's a quarterback that played in the last 20 years that I don't think gets nearly enough credit in comparison to Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and that's Drew Brees. Drew Brees never had even a wide receiver with 1/10 of the talent as a prime Stephon Diggs. Never, not even close. You can go back. Marcus Colston was good. Was he an alpha?
Michael Thomas was good. We've had this argument,
but that
before.
was towards the end.
Yes, yeah.
That was towards the end of Brees' career.
You're absolutely right.
So that's tough. Like in his prime, though, Drew Brees never really had the alpha like Stephon Diggs was for Josh Allen. And in his prime, those were his best years when they won the Super Bowl against the Colts. I couldn't even tell you the receivers that he had off the top of my head. With all due respect, the reason I say that is to kind of piggyback off of Beyond's point that I think they went out and they were very calculated with the moves that they made. They understood that originally when the offseason started, they had a lot of guys that they had to lock up on their own team. The draft, develop, retain sometimes hasn't always worked. Tremaine Edmonds, draft, develop, and then he went to Chicago. You know, for better or for worse, we could debate that too. But I think Terrell Bernard was a huge priority for them. Christian Benford was a huge priority for them. They got those done, and those were huge checks off on the list. And I think that going into this offseason, he did value the wide receiver position. I think he did value it in a sense of going after guys like Eli Moore and Josh Palmer. You know, the big seminal moment that I think a lot of us are forgetting in this offseason actually was on the radio when Jeremy White and Sneaky Joe were talking about the wide receiver priority list not being a high priority. And Brandon Beane is coming on and he says, guys, I made it a priority. It's just we went out and got who we got. We have to let this kind of marinate and see what happens.
He also knew that Elijah was coming in for a workout,
right?
And he had that in his back pocket. And I mean,
he did. I mean, but
because they weren't out of line for talking about wide receivers.
These quote unquote insiders, you know, on the flip side of it, have just as much knowledge on that as Brandon Beane does, if not more. So they knew that they weren't done. Everyone knew that they weren't done. It was way too early to say that they haven't done enough, and they went out and they did enough. I think they did enough in terms of filling a position. Now, the question is everybody going to be hunky-dory happy with the fact that we don't have, you know, the name value receiver? That's a whole other debate, but whether it actually matters or not depends on the success that they have on the field. Like, we could be talking about how we don't think Josh Palmer's an upgrade to Amari Cooper, how we don't think Eli Moore is an upgrade in the room, and he's bounced around from the Jets to the Browns. Those are valid points, but if you look at the quarterbacks that these guys have played with, they haven't played with a quarterback like Josh Allen either on the flip side of that. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see the pecking order and who gets what. I still think Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid are the number one, number two, and they have to massively step up this year. Like, this has to be a year where Dalton Kincaid is better than he was his rookie year, and it definitely has to be a year where Keon Coleman is much healthier than he was his rookie year. I saw a lot of great signs out of Keon that made me really optimistic. The Seattle game I thought was easily the best game of his career, and he was lined up on Rick Woolen, made a lot of great catches for us that day, and that kind of provided a glimpse at the potential that he has. And Dalton Kincaid, I think the stature is what makes him so interesting as an athlete, but he's just got to get a little bigger. And they've talked about that in the offseason too. So the fact that they're so in tune with the guys that they do have, as well as pairing the guys that they've brought in, I think is going to make for a very interesting, successful season in the passing game, more than maybe even what I thought last year at this time.
I mean, Whittle, I want to move the show along because you know why I'm here. I'm here to talk about Sean McDermott, the head coach. So here's what I will say to Ryan's point. So no, again, I already said greetings from Nickel City Crew, so I have to be on brand. Listen, I don't disagree with anything that Ryan said. Quietly, I think that the wide receiver room is going to be better this year than it was last year. I'm more excited about Josh Palmer's prospects as opposed to an aging Amari Cooper. I understand why Brandon Beane went out and got him, and that kind of validated my feelings and the feelings of the Nickel City Crew, because I can speak for my co-host in that respect, that everybody's not working. He's panicking. We've lost 2 straight. He goes out and gets Amari Cooper, and like what you said, Whittle, even if it's for the appearance of having a number 1 receiver, it was very important. You could see that because we weren't gaining separation. So I don't disagree with anything that Ryan said. I think that the wide receiver room could actually be better. I am very, very intrigued by Elijah Moore. I'll put 2 hands up on that. I am very, very intrigued because of one of the things that Ryan talked about. He has not played with good quarterbacks at all, whether it was the Jets or whether it was the Browns. He has been in a situation where I think that his potential is still untapped. I think his ceiling is not. We haven't seen his ceiling yet. This is a guy that was a blue chip athlete coming out of Ole Miss. I know a lot of chatter around WGR coming through draft time was, Bills, we wanted him to target. We wanted them to target Elijah Moore. So I'm very intrigued by him. Josh Palmer, we'll see. I haven't heard too much about the injury stuff, but I know that he has not been as reliable. But one thing they do say about him is that he gains separation. I need more guys like 14. I'm not going to talk about 14 all night. That's why I'm here to talk about McDermott. I need more guys like him. I need on money downs, like Beyond said, I need on money downs that Josh knows that this is 3rd and 7, and I need my bread to be buttered on this down because we've got to extend this drive. We're in a situation where we might punt because we're backed up closer to the 40 on our side of the field. So I don't know if McDermott's going to go for it or not. I've got to get a first down. Where's my bread buttered, man? Who can I go to? Who can I rely on? I'm looking for those type of wide receivers. So maybe Josh Palmer can stay healthy and be that kind of receiver for him. Maybe Elijah Moore can. The offseason itself, it was defensive. And it was something that I saw coming. A lot of Bills Mafia saw it coming in respects to allocating resources to the defense. And I know that you and I will have had some arguments about that over the offseason about it, but I expected the Bills to go heavy on defense. I understood what the draft position was. I understood how they were going to be allocating the resources, and I'll keep everything for later, man, because it's nut cutting time. I mean, Ryan's laughing, but
no, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Running out of excuses now. 4 out of 5 years to the same team, and I can give you every single excuse, and I'll do that as I leave the show to you, Whittle, to take the show forward. First time it was Sugar High Josh, right? Houston was Sugar High Josh, and everybody was just happy to be back in the playoffs, and everybody's rejoicing. No big deal. We're back in the playoffs. The next year it was, it's too early. We're not quite there yet. That was the AFC Championship game year. McDermott keeps kicking field goals. Then we got 13 seconds. Then you've got the DeMar year. We get an excuse for that one. Oh, they're emotionally drained. They're emotionally fatigued. They've just been through too much on the field and off the field to be able to, put up a competitive game against Cincinnati. And I was there for that one. And it was horrible to watch live and in person. Next year was injuries, right? Didn't we hosted that game, right? KC, we hosted it. They say it's in. No,
was it injuries or was it drops? Was it injuries or drops?
Oh man. And then last year we've got the exotic Spags blitz, which everybody seems to want to put and lay at the feet. So there's been an excuse every year. I understand the direction of the team and why they allocated resources to the defense this offseason. I disagree. So we'll see.
Could I add one thing? I got to add one thing.
Okay.
So one thing that Rob mentioned. So going into this draft, I thought they would go defense heavy, and I hoped that they would.
Everybody
Because one thing that really agitates me against the teams that you mentioned, Rob, Joe Burrow, Pat Mahomes, for whatever reason, it might be because Lamar loves to roll around a lot. They have an easier time getting to Lamar than they do Joe Burrow and Pat Mahomes. I would only kind of venture to guess that it's because Lamar likes to move around and play outside the pocket, whereas Joe and Pat Mahomes try to get rid of the ball quickly. But that is the problem. Like that is if I were to narrow it down to one thing, their inability to rush the passer. And as Whittle mentioned, let us not forget that they went out a few years back and paid a lot of money to an aging defensive end who was doing his thing his first year prior to the ACL. I do want to put respect on his name by saying that, but ultimately it didn't work out. So it's like I can't fault them for not trying because they did try. I just think that they're finally realizing what they needed to do then, and they're doing it the right way this time.
But I've fought with Whittle over this, Ryan. This is not the first time throughout the McDermott tenure that we have allocated resources to defense. I think we picked defensive ends first and second round one year, right? Am I wrong?
It's not the first. It's not the
first
time
that we have allocated resources to his side of the ball. He's a defensive coach. Obviously, he wants to get what he wants to get, and he works with Brandon Beane to get what he needs. But this is.
It's the first time in a while. It's the first time in a while.
But to the Bills Mafia members, and they're like Whittle, because Whittle and I argued about this months ago. This is not the first time that we have allocated a bunch of resources to McDermott's defense, and we still wound up with egg on our face. So color me skeptical. I
get it. I get it.
So Rob,
and this is not
we've invested. We've invested more on the offensive side of the football than we have on defense.
That's what you
especially when it comes to draft capital.
I know you've told me that. And free agents, though, they count too.
Well, free agency. I mean, if we're being honest, we brought in Mitch Morse, we brought in McGovern, we brought in David Edwards, we brought in Ty Johnson, we brought in Naeem Hines, we brought in Sanders, we brought in Cole Beasley, we brought in we've invested a large amount. Now, it has not been the Von Miller $125 million contract. It hasn't been that. But when you look at the draft, when you look at what we've invested on the offensive side, we've gone from a bottom 10 offensive line consistently year to year to right now, the Bills are ranked preseason rankings, grades, or whatever you want to call it. Number 3, the third best offensive line in the league.
They were wonderful last year. Wonderful.
When you see the investment, they brought back a Ty Johnson who was very reliable for this offense. Mm-hmm. They draft a guy in Ray Davis who has the capability to take some of the punishment off of Josh Allen's plate, which is the short yardage, between the tackles, really tough running that we depended on Josh for when, Zach Moss was out of here and, Devin Singletary was too small to get it done.
See how he does me, Beyond? See how he does me? He keeps hitting me in the head. I never said that. I'm just saying that we have reloaded for Sean McDermott.
And we have to be honest. So we have to be honest. The investments have not been great. And not because of the result. It's just the investments weren't great. Boogie Basham in the second round was a bust. He just was. And whether you guys want to agree with me or not, Ed Oliver was the wrong selection.
Ooh.
Yes. Let's have a conversation.
To date, for where he was picked, I would agree with you.
Absolutely.
Based on the production. I would agree.
Can we continue to be honest here? Can we continue to be honest here?
I do think I do think the best is yet to come. I will say that. But
I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth.
Let's continue. Let's continue down this.
I plead the fifth.
Let's continue down this path of honesty. Okay. Dalton Kincaid was a worse pick for this team than Kaiir Elam was, and I'll explain why. Because I know everybody's going to hear that and they're going to say, "Oh my God, what are you talking about?" Kaiir Elam's rookie year, he was the highest rated corner we had on the team. Remember, that's the year that Trey got hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trey got hurt. Benford got hurt as well. I believe he broke his hand in the Miami game that we lost 19-21. Kyer Elam was the best corner on that team for that entire season. And he was mismanaged. This is my opinion.
Oh,
I believe
100%.
he was mismanaged.
Yeah.
I think that when he came back in year 2, he should have automatically walked into a starting role. He should not have had to compete. Now there, Rob, you and I are going to agree. McDermott and John Butler, they mismanaged that situation with Kyer Elam. Kyer hasn't been the same since.
He wasn't.
He's been poor. He's been a poor player ever since that.
You should
Now the Kincaid pick. I think the Kincaid pick was a terrible pick, and this is why. We have been looking to replace Cole Beasley, the safety blanket for Josh Allen, since Cole Beasley fell off a cliff in 2022. The guy was sitting right there on the roster. We took him in the 5th round out of Boise State, Khalil Shakir, but we never went to him. We trusted Ken Dorsey. Ken Dorsey wanted to go 12 personnel, and everybody was so enamored with let's go find another Travis Kelce. Well, what we should have done was taken Brian Branch right there, and then our safety situation wouldn't be what it is right now. Because we'd have Brian Branch, we'd have Taylor Rapp, and then we could have taken Cole Bishop as a guy that we could move around. You could throw him in the slot as a big slot defender. You can throw him in the box as an extra box guy, or in your dime packages, you have a guy that's able to play in coverage. He's big enough to take on a block from a linebacker. I mean, from a tight end or a wide receiver, and still make plays in the run game. So I think that Dalton Kincaid. And none of those things have anything to do with the head coach Sean McDermott. Now I know you're gonna. Now, Rob, I know you want to jump in. I know you want to jump in and bash McDermott, but I can't bash McDermott for the last 2 years. Let's look at 2023.
You can't bash him for what? You can't bash him for.
I can't blame him for. I can't bash Sean McDermott for 2023 or 2024. Now, if you want to blame Sean McDermott for 12 men on the field in Denver, 100% bad. Like that was terrible. No excuse for that. 100%. The Denver game, where he went 0 blitz on 3rd and 4th down, terrible. You can't you got to mix it up. You can't be that predictable. 100%. I got you. But let's not forget. We're driving the football down the field in the first quarter, right? Deep dig, intermediate dig over the middle to Gabe Davis. Ball goes through his hands into the arms of Kareem Jackson. Interception. Kills the drive. That was points right there. Josh Allen chooses on 2nd and whatever to throw a ball into triple coverage to Gabe Davis when he had the underneath route. He had the underneath route for 3 or 4 yards. That's not on the head coach. That's on the player. I can't blame him for that. And we still lost that game by a walk-off field goal. We still lost that game by a field goal.
Talking about regular season.
There's a lot.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. Let's go to the playoffs. You go up against Kansas City, right?
Now you have my attention.
You go up against Kansas City, right? You're going into Kansas City with A.J. Epinesa, rib issue. He had that
23, right?
Kansas City game.
Just on the same page. Go ahead. 23, right?
23, yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. Von Miller came back early from his injury, did absolutely nothing, right?
Non-factor. Yep.
Trey White out because of the Achilles tear.
Mm-hmm.
Gone. Christian Benford out. Got hurt in the week prior at the Steelers game. He's gone. Those are your top 2 corners, right?
Yes.
Your defensive end number 2 and your defensive end number 3 out not playing. Daquan Jones had just come back. Daquan Jones had just come back from a pectoral a pec tear, right? So when you come back from a pec tear, you still can't lift weights. So we got Daquan Jones as a big bag of milk at that point, right? At the end of the year, he's a bag of milk. He can't lift. He can't get strong. He's not ready. He's not ready for that line. He's not ready for Creed Humphrey. He's not ready for Trey Smith. He's not ready for those guys. He's not, right? So let's keep going. Terrell Bernard's out. He was hurt as well. Matt Milano's out. He was hurt as well. Balin Spector is out as well. So we have AJ Klein, who was just on a trip to West Virginia to take his
Key
family
West.
camping.
Yeah.
He's starting. That's a 3-point loss after second half. First drive, Dawson Knox on third down, drops a ball. We would have got us a first down. No, put us in field goal range. Nobody's around him. He drops that ball. Where's McDermott's
Here
fault?
comes.
How's that McDermott's fault? Trent Sherfield, 2 major drops, third downs, both of them in drives. And 14. Oh, Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs down the field with a safety scraping at his heels. Ball goes right through his hands. Should I pull it up? Do I need
This
to
is
pull
the
it
big
up?
one,
No,
Elizabeth.
don't pull it up. I don't
This
want
is
to
the
watch
big one,
that.
Elizabeth.
Love the
Sanford and
Sanford and
Sanford.
So I know people want to kill Sean McDermott because they say, well, even in that game, he went for it on fourth down, and the fake punt to DeMar Hamlin, that was terrible. Yes, it was executed terrible. But haven't you? But didn't y'all all say Sean McDermott's got to get out of being so predictable?
Wait a minute.
Predictable was that?
You just got on Joe Brady for calling a crap ass trick play when we were trying to claw back in the game. Don't give Sean McDermott a pass for that fake.
I'm not.
Why would you not put Josh Allen on the field? That you just said that we don't need.
I agree 100%.
Okay,
I agree. I agree.
100.
You're right.
Greetings from
You're
Nickel
right.
City Crew. Stop.
You're right.
Stop.
Point for Rob. Now, Rob, my response to that is,
Go ahead, Ryan.
You're gonna give Sean McDermott the blame for that trick play. Do we give him the credit for Jordan Poyer punching that ball out at the goal line?
Of course, not.
Because
you have to. That's his side of the ball. You have to.
Okay.
You have to.
Because let's talk about the history of Jordan Poyer.
Right. I mean, that's what everybody's banking on.
We got Jordan Poyer from the trash heap in Cleveland. He couldn't make the Browns team. Sean McDermott turns this guy into a first team, not a second team All-Pro, first team All-Pro, first team
All-Pro Poe.
All-Pro Poe. You don't have that without Sean McDermott, right?
There's a lot of really good points. I have said to Rob and other people on Twitter that this wide receiver argument about Diggs actually predates Diggs leaving. This goes back.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is there's a draft that Whittle mentioned, 2023. Okay. There was chatter that the Buffalo Bills were in on Jordan Addison. They were in on Zay Flowers. They were in on Quentin Johnson. They were in on Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah,
they all went right. That's exactly what happened. But they all went, and Brandon Beane said, okay, we got to come away with some sort of addition to the pass catchers. We're not going to call them wide receivers. We're not going to call them tight ends. We're going to add a pass catcher. We're going to take a guy that's the
according to Whittle, right? I mean, Whittle, get Branch, and you don't have to worry about it. Because I agree with Whittle that Kincaid has to show me. You said his rookie year, he needs to do his rookie year and beyond.
Oh, and more. Oh, yeah. No. That's what
I got to do a lot more.
Yeah, that's what I was. I mean, if we're judging his 2 years, his best year is his rookie year by far. The second year was not a good year at all. So we'll just. He's got to do better in year 3 than he was his rookie year. This season, with everything that's on the line, you got to think of the AFC East right now compared to the AFC North and the AFC West. The AFC East, I would be stunned if I headed to Seneca Niagara and placed a bet for the Buffalo Bills to win the AFC East back in May, and I lost it in January. I'd be shocked if any other team but the Buffalo Bills won the AFC East. But my point, going back to 2023, is that narrative of the wide receivers, Brandon Beane wasn't able to get one of those guys. So he took what he thought was the next best thing. That's why Dalton Kincaid was picked. I am 100% convinced that that's why Dalton Kincaid was picked. And to Whittle's point, a lot needs to happen in order for, Kincaid to make do on being picked. I'm looking at it now, 25th Brian Branch went 20 picks later, 45 to the Detroit Lions. So I think that they have invested on both offense and defense. They've tried to add from outside the organization. Now they've got what I think is the best ability for Sean McDermott to rotate defensive linemen. Where they missed on Boogie Basham, we can hope that they learn from that in picking Landon Jackson, a different type of defensive end, a longer body, more athletic type guy. But he needs to stay. This all is predicated on a player's health with every player in the game. But man, when I'm in June, July, and I'm seeing Landon Jackson might be out or Dawson Knox is out. And granted, it's early in training camp. I'm sure they'll be back at some point soon. But man, the biggest problem with this team has been staying healthy. I really believe if this team had stayed healthy at any point in these last 4 out of the last 5 years, I can't let somebody tell me I can't. And Rob, if you want to take this out of my sails, that's fine. But I don't even think, Robbie, you could tell me that the Chiefs were far and away better than the Bills last year. I don't think they were.
No,
I don't think they were. That's what I'm saying, though, Rob, is that it's frustrating for it.
No.
That's what frustrates me more than anything is I think that the gap is being bridged by the Bills, between the Bills and the Chiefs. It just hasn't been good enough yet. And the question is, window closing, how many more, bites out of the apple does Buffalo have?
Yes.
And with every year that Josh Young does get older, he's 1 year closer to not being able to play the way that he's playing right now. We're a long way away from that, I believe, obviously, but it's a thought. It's a thought in everyone's mind, and I think that's fair. But I also think that there's no team Kansas City wants to face less than the Buffalo Bills. They do not want to play the Buffalo Bills in another AFC Championship game.
But let me ask you guys this: do we really want to play the Kansas City Chiefs
Of
again
course not.
in the AFC? Because
Of course
as
not.
remember Rob, I was talking about those awesome Sports Illustrateds behind you.
Mhm.
Okay. Great teams, right? Made 4 straight Super Bowls, but
That's
we
right.
know a mental side of things and how it took its toll on that team, especially when we got to our 3rd and 4th Super Bowls. With, Thurman Thomas
Yeah, but
fumble.
we still got there though. Put respect
We
on their
did.
name. We got
You're
to
right.
get there. The
Oh,
Bills,
100%.
these iteration of the Bills, I
100%.
never like when they talk about them like the
100%.
90s because they haven't even gotten to that level yet.
I will say this though: the AFC is better now than it was then. Let's be
Absolutely.
honest.
Absolutely.
But I agree. But the
You
the
can
point
only
I was
play who you
generally
can play,
making,
right?
yep,
Right.
is once Thurman fumbled against Dallas in the 4th one, you could see mentally the Bills were shot.
The
right?
air went all
Now,
out, of course.
The other thing that Whittle and I have talked about a lot on our pod is: did you see how nervous Josh Allen was before the first couple drives of that game this past year in the AFC title game?
Thank you. We
Is
talked
it
about it on the
starting-
podcast.
Is the
Thank
mental
you.
side starting to come into play? And it's normal, right? We're human, right? I mean, any great coach will tell you mental is such a big part of sports, right? And it's not a knock against any particular player.
You're
It's not a
speaking the
knock
truth, man.
against-
You're
but
speaking the truth.
but the flip side is we've lost 3 playoff games. Oh, the last 3 games by how many points to the Chiefs? 9.
3
Oh, yeah,
each game.
total. Yeah, total. 3 a game.
I mean,
total, yeah.
we're losing to a dynasty, folks, by this much. We have the 2nd best winning percentage in sports since 2019. Kansas City's number 1.
Beyond-
We've been tremendous.
the two-
We've been tremendous.
the two-
So, but I get your
the
points though. But it's amazing. The psychological. Sorry, Whittle.
No, you good. You good. The 2 highest winning percentages over a 5-year span that have not been to the Super Bowl belong to the current iteration of the Buffalo Bills and the current iteration of the Baltimore Ravens. Who's standing in that way? Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Kansas City.
And that shout out to Joe Marino because that came from Joe Marino. Like that was the Joe Marino thing. He put that out there today. And that's
Buffalo's offense is number 1 in points per game in the entire NFL the last 5 years.
Yep.
That's something that NFL just posted. 5 years. I mean,
which is why the emphasis has been on defense, on the defensive side of the ball. So my question now is, it's easy to say like it's the quarterback, it's the coach. The coach is getting out coached, but I don't know that he's getting out. I can't say outside of 2021, he's getting out coached. 2022 was a failure all the way around. So, I mean, that's an anomaly. That's not. I think we can all look at that game against the Bengals and say to ourselves, that's not the Buffalo Bills that we know. That's not the Bills, this
They were
current
flat.
Bills team that we know and we love.
They
They
were
were flat. That was a terrible anomaly of a game. But 23, and the reason why I say this is because when we look at these things, we look at them from a holistic standpoint of this team versus this team versus this team versus this team, right? So let's take the AFC for instance. The Kansas City Chiefs, the Baltimore Ravens, the Buffalo Bills, and the most consistent team outside of those three have been a combination of the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Houston Texans, right? I think we can all agree on those 5 teams. So if we go roster to roster, right? Josh Allen is probably falls number 2 on that list, maybe 3 for some who have Lamar over him or whatever. Fine. But then you go to running back, right? And James Cook now has asserted himself as an explosive back that everybody knows and loves because of some high profile games and situations where, the diving touchdown and, he runs away from the guys in Detroit. That's great. But let's look at the numbers. He's not averaging 1,000 yards a year. He's not. He's averaging a little under 7 touchdowns a season. He's averaging 915 rushing yards per season. Those are not elite level numbers for a running back. Joe Mixon has an argument to being better than that. Derrick Henry's definitely better. Definitely. Najee Harris has averaged more yards per season than James Cook over the last 3 years.
He's not as explosive though.
Right. But that's the thing. James Cook is way more explosive. He's more of a game breaker, all of that. And I'm not taking anything away from that. But listen to those 5 teams that we just talked about. Would you put our wide receiver room over any of those teams? I wouldn't. Our tight ends are comparable. Tight ends are comparable for sure.
That's not the question, though.
Yeah, that's not the question.
No. But it is though. It is though.
I get why you're asking it. You go ahead.
It's his show, Ryan.
Yeah.
No.
I don't disagree with him. I want to let them know, and I don't disagree.
I think on the defensive line, out of those 5 teams, we have the worst group. I think when you talk about linebackers, it's comparable, but we're always injured. The secondaries, we don't have a better secondary than any of those teams.
No.
Maybe the Steelers. Maybe. That's it. Everybody else has a better, player to player, position group to position group. We are lacking in talent severely on the defensive side of the ball. Yet we're always there at the end of the year.
So the argument,
why?
The argument you're saying is, and I'm not disagreeing with it. I want to hear it out, and I want to take this in. So the argument you're saying,
you know where I'm going, though, Ryan. You know where I'm going.
I know where you're going. I get it. The argument is that the team is not as talented as those other teams that you mentioned. So the coaching is propelling the players to play at a level that brings them to
just the defense.
17.
Just the
defense.
Right.
Yeah, just the defense. Right. I'm not listen. Josh Allen is Josh is an Avenger. We know that. Josh is an Avenger 100%. We know that. And he is a force multiplier for the offense. The offensive line is great, but they're great because Josh Allen makes them right when they're wrong. If Spencer Brown doesn't have to win every block. There are plenty of games I can show you, we can pull it up, where Spencer Brown just invites his defensive end that he's up against, Ole, right up the field. Come on, let's go for a ride. 7 yards up the field, and Josh is going to take off, sprint down the side, and make a play downfield. That's
like making beauty. Another MVP argument for Josh Allen. That's what I'm hearing. But maybe
we'll get into the stat line predictions later on, but I got Josh Allen winning the MVP again. So we'll get into that.
That's the thing. Called that last year, by the way.
The best quarterback. Which quarterback would you rather have to pass or run the football?
Nobody
Allen.
but
Oh, Josh Allen.
Nobody
Come
but Josh.
That's
Nobody
it.
but Josh.
Josh has more touchdowns in 7 years, in the first 7 years of his career, than anybody in NFL history in their first 8. So he's already ahead of he's ahead of everybody a
lapping
year
it.
in advance.
He's lapping.
Yeah,
it.
it's ridiculous how good that kid is. It's ridiculous.
Mhm.
And what's even more ridiculous is how long it took us to put a competent offensive line around him and a complimentary group of pass catchers outside of 2021, because that's the only year that we had a complete complimentary group of pass catchers around Josh Allen. But my
Where did we
point
go that
about
year,
Sean
Widow?
McDermott,
Where did we go that year?
Huh?
Where did we go that year?
2021, we went to the
Title
division.
game.
We lost to Kansas City. That was 13 seconds.
Oh,
13
okay.
seconds?
All right,
Yeah,
gotcha.
that was that year. 2020 was
and
the first.
And who does that fall on? Okay, gotcha.
2021?
Yeah.
2020 was the AFC Championship. That
AFC Championship
was
game,
pre-Diggs, right?
Right, but I'm
That was no. Diggs was there for
Diggs
2020.
was
Oh, that's
everything, baby. Everything, baby. Everything.
No.
What did Whittle say?
Listen,
we had a complete full roster.
Rob, we're having revisionist history here. Diggs hasn't shown up in the playoffs since 2020.
I didn't say about play. I'm just talking about that. You said that the complete
Playoffs?
complement. 17 had the complete complement of receivers, and that was a scary team. Those two teams, back-to-back year, AFC Championship game, 13 seconds. Those were the scariest teams. Anybody who I hear on WGR,
I didn't like 2020.
Who would you
I didn't like the
rather,
2020
have? Who would you
People,
rather
some
have?
people say that last year's team was the best offense ever because they scored the most points.
No,
And
23. 23 was
that.
the best. 23 was the best team we had under Josh Allen. That was the most complete team we've ever had under Josh. 23.
That's what
23.
playoff loss was that? Which one is that?
That was the
Kansas City
field
home.
goal.
Home.
Khalil Shakir.
I
Yeah,
like
that was that.
like 13 seconds.
That was the Diggs drop. That was Diggs drop.
Those receivers.
That was the Diggs drop.
Who
would you rather have?
More explosive than the team that we fielded last year. For receiver. You said receivers and Josh Allen's complement of weapons. It doesn't.
No,
it
but
doesn't
23 though. 23 was Kincaid's rookie year. I thought Knox was good that year as a compliment to Kincaid. I thought Gabe Davis was all right until he got hurt. And then I thought that, Diggs was Diggs. And then Cook was good that year. Cook was really good that year. That was Cook's breakout season. 2023 was and because we ran into so many injuries early, if you go back to that 2023 season and you look at the Jets game, which we lost, Josh Allen played like absolute garbage. We annihilated the Raiders, annihilated the Commanders. We annihilated the Dolphins. And then, the spine of the defense gets injured in the first quarter of the Jacksonville game, and then it's a wrap after that. But that team, for those first 4 weeks, that was the best team in football.
Is that the team that when we went to play the Rams to start the year?
No, that was the 2022
That was
season.
22. I was at that game. That's why I know.
And who was Emmanuel Sanders on?
Man.
Actually,
Who was Emmanuel Sanders on with Cole Beasley? Because that was my team.
That was 21. That was 21. That was 21.
Oh, okay.
But 22. But the start of the 22 season. Yes, that was 13 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right.
But the
That
start of
was
the
the
22
year.
season.
8 seconds still.
That-
just,
I'm
that's my
sorry.
problem.
22 was good too. 22 was
I'm done.
Von Miller 8.5 sacks in 9.5 games.
Mhm.
That was that year, or 10 games.
The year that they had Emmanuel Sanders, I've gone to the training camp for like the last 25 years. Like I've gone to every single year
Nice.
the last 25 years. The Emmanuel Sanders year was the year that Josh Allen threw what was like a 50-yard bullet, like over the center of the field. And Emmanuel Sanders caught it, ran it in the end zone, turned around, and he was like,
He couldn't
my
believe that
God.
the ball was in his hands. Remember?
he couldn't
Talked to
believe
the
it. Yeah, he
media.
talked about
He
it.
talked
Yeah,
to
he
the
talked
media
about
about
it. He
that.
was like, what the hell? This guy is unbelievable. And
Mhm.
Shady McCoy was the first one to talk about Josh Allen being a real one. And then Emmanuel Sanders said, no, this guy is so much better than what people have even seen so far. So just kind of provides a, behind the scenes as far as like the tidbits that they were seeing in his progression to go from being a top rookie, first round draft pick, traded up for him, to being the MVP of the league now. It's pretty amazing.
And that's it, Whittle. Ryan just hit on it. I've got to use the restroom real quick. That's it for me. I am gripped by fear every single season that goes by that we don't get it done, because I know in my heart of hearts that 17 is not Dan Marino. He is not Phillip Rivers. He is not name your quarterback that was great that didn't win it here. He's not Patrick Ewing of the NBA or Charles Barkley. My greatest fear is that 13 seconds was our greatest opportunity to get that championship that we all want. And these guys behind me that shaped me as a Bills fan they never got 4 straight. We never got it.
Rob, I got to tell you a secret.
Yes, sir.
2021, even if we win that 13-second game, we're not beating the Rams.
I'm not even sure if we beat Cincinnati, to be honest.
We're not beating the Rams.
I wonder if they would have beat the Rams, but I also feel that way
because Von was on their team instead of ours the next year. Why do you say
it wasn't just Von? It was Von. It was Aaron Donald. It was Leonard Floyd. They were loaded.
Cooper Kupp.
They were loaded on both sides of the
catches.
Yeah,
I feel that way about the Bills.
But they barely beat Cincinnati.
Still had a lot left. They were loaded.
Cincinnati offensive line was horrible that year.
We could have, but guys, I got to tell you,
Cincinnati's offensive line was horrible that year.
No. I'm talking about the Rams, bro. We would have lost.
But I'm saying that they barely beat the Bengals. The Bengals were close in that game.
They were.
Come on.
I think that Whittle about
they had Trey Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard, DJ Reed. They had a loaded defensive line.
So
their defensive line was better than ours.
Championship game and beat us.
I think they would have. I'm sorry, bro. I think they would have beat us.
Okay.
I think they would have.
You think the Bills would have beat the Eagles?
That's my bigger point. Is that I just don't want him to. I just don't want that to be the greatest chance that we ever had. Regardless of what year you thought
greatest chance
that it was, you can pick whatever year now. Sean McDermott has given us so many. You can pick whatever year you're supposed to get it done. I'm scared.
Ryan, I'm gonna get to your question, but I want to say this to Rob. Rob, we look at Peyton Manning's career as a 2-time Super Bowl winner, but for many years he could not get over the hump. You know what changed for him?
He finally did.
No, Bob Sanders was healthy for a playoff run, and they won the Super Bowl. Christian Benford stays healthy. We beat Kansas City last year. If we don't lose 4 starters on defense in 23, there's no way we lose that game.
Whittle, I will love Peyton Manning to the day I die. I love Peyton Manning. I pray to God that there is a quarterback equally as mediocre as Rex Grossman playing in the NFL right now for Josh Allen to play against in his first Super Bowl win. I hope that there is. I'm saying that facetiously. This league is on another level now. This league is.
What if I told you there is? He plays for the Eagles, but that's another conversation. You want to talk about it?
Wow.
We can schedule. We can bring you guys back and we can talk about it. I think Jalen Hurts is a nice quarterback. I think Jalen Hurts is a good player. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's a great quarterback. I don't think he's an elite quarterback.
He's better than Rex Grossman.
I know, yeah. Rex Grossman.
Are you sure?
Yeah, man. Even if just his legs alone, it'll stop.
So let me explain to you this, right?
You're being
Brad Johnson won a Super Bowl. Johnson won a Super Bowl because he had an elite cast on both sides of the ball. He had all-star. He had a bunch of guys on that offense that were really good as well, right?
But his defense was great, just like Trent Dilfers.
Poor Rich Gannon, man. That was
absolutely
sad.
Nick Foles won a Super Bowl because he had the best team. He had the best team.
I know. I'm not going to take shots to Jalen Hurts, man. I'm not.
Jalen Hurts,
listen. Congratulations to Jalen Hurts, but let's be honest. If Jalen Hurts was as good as people are trying to make it out to be, why didn't they beat Tampa Bay in 2021?
Well, that team was decimated by a lot of injuries. But you have to give him credit. Even himself.
Okay. So what happened in 2023 when they went there when they went to Tampa Bay and got ran off the field?
They felt that year they had decimated by injuries at the end of the year. They were a shell of what they were.
Oh, so injuries matter now. Okay. So when they got to the Super Bowl, so then let's talk about this then. 2022, they get to the Super Bowl, right?
Yep.
He's
But
got
Jalen Hurts played
the
really
he's
well.
got the NFL record-setting sack production. He's got the NFL record setters in
Mhm.
quarterback sacks that year, right? He's got All-Pro Slay. He's got All-Pro Bradbury. He's got C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He's got Reed Blake. He's got a bunch of guys in the secondary. Linebackers were but overwhelmingly, you got the best offensive line in football. You got a really good tight end, one of the top 5 to 7 tight ends in the NFL. You've got AJ Brown, and you have Devontae Smith. They lost that game though. You know why?
Yeah.
Because the Chiefs weren't injured. That's why. And if you're that great of a quarterback with that great of a team, you should not lose.
The 38-35 game? The one where the Eagles were screwed on the last call of the game with Bradbury? I mean, we could go down that
There was a point. There was a point.
That was a terrible call in that Super Bowl. Horrible, horrific call. Horrific.
I mean,
Hurts was really good in that game, Whittle. We have to be fair. And he was excellent.
He was fair. He was great until he fumbled. He was great until he fumbled and gave up a scoop and score. And that ended up being a difference.
Okay, but the rest of the game, he was excellent. You know what? Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, if Jalen Hurts wins another Super Bowl, there's another quarterback that won 2 Super Bowls that gets a ton of
Eli
credit
Manning.
because of his last name. Thank you, Mr. What is he? 19 of 34 in a Super Bowl, and everybody talks about
Eli Manning.
He was so elite. Get out of here.
Played big in big moments, though. We can't. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Now, listen, he's not everybody's flavor. I get it, Whittle. You're right. He's not.
He's a bus rider, not a bus driver. Let's be honest.
He's a very efficient. He is. He's at 68% completion, 65, 66. He could throw a deep ball on occasion. They don't ask him to do a lot, though, either, Whittle. That's the other thing.
They got
really
better
don't.
when they asked him not to throw the football last year. That's
it helps when you get a guy like
mean,
Saquon Barkley. It helps. We'll just throw that out there.
Yeah, I get it. But
you're getting 6-man boxes. You're getting 6 and 7-man boxes.
I'll still take Jalen
Hurts. You're throwing one-on-one. You're throwing one-on-one balls to a top 5 receiver in AJ Brown and a top 3 wide receiver 2 in Devontae Smith all game long because the Chiefs have to put 5 to 6 guys in a box every down.
Who cares?
Let me throw this. Let me throw this at you guys. Let me throw this at you guys.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest storyline in the NFL. This is my take. It supersedes the Buffalo Bills because the team that it's about was a dynasty, and I say was because the Chiefs just lost the last Super Bowl. The biggest storyline in the NFL, which will dictate what happens in the tougher conference out of the two, between the AFC and the NFC, the AFC being tougher, is whether or not the Chiefs can swallow that loss against the Philadelphia Eagles, put it behind them, and be the team that they were the previous 2 years. I have my doubts on that just as much as anyone else might about the Bills' wide receiver room or everybody eats.
Based on all that stuff. Based on what? Based on the Rasheed Rice suspension?
Well, based on a few things. That's one of them.
On paper, they should be better. So I think Bills Mafia needs to prepare for that, Ryan.
Kansas City is getting back a number 1 receiver. It's almost like they did a trade without doing a trade or a signing. Rasheed Rice is going to come back at some point, right?
I just want to keep it funky, right?
He's going to jail.
Don't lead Bills Mafia straight.
Is he?
Let me get this out. So,
okay.
Whittle brought up. Everybody kind of brought up this point. It's extremely hard to go to a Super Bowl. Case in point, the Buffalo Bills. It's even harder to go to a Super Bowl and lose the way that they did, in the form and fashion that they did, where the Philadelphia Eagles backups were in once Kendrick Lamar finished his halftime performance. It was bad. It was not just a loss. It was a blowout loss. There was garbage time, garbage points that made that game look so much closer. And it wasn't close, but it made that game look so much closer than what it was. Steve Noble takes the words right out of my mouth. The AFC West is getting better. At some point, Jim Harbaugh is going to figure out the Chargers. I almost called them San Diego, but he will figure out the Chargers. I also think that Sean Payton, the Denver Broncos, are coming. I think that they're going to be better this upcoming year. Bo Nix was legit his rookie year. He had a great year for a rookie. So I think that you look at the divisions between the AFC West and the AFC East, it's night and day. There is no threat to the Buffalo Bills between the Patriots, Dolphins, or Jets. I'm sorry. I don't see it. I could never even force myself to worry about one of those three teams for any reason, other than maybe if Drake May is the hot shot that they're saying he is, which
the next Josh.
I have my doubts on that, but I think that's a factor. And I also think that the guard of the team is starting to change to where Travis Kelce's on his last legs. Andy Reid is on his last legs. I don't think Andy Reid's got 5 more years left in him as a coach. What type of player will Patrick Mahomes be without him? We've never seen that before in the NFL. So the window, as far as windows go, the window is just as there, in my opinion, with Buffalo as it is with KC, to the point where the AFC could look a lot different 5 years from now than what it does right now.
I would almost go there with you, other than I had egg on my face. I had Whittle and his cronies on his space last year, laughing me off of his space, laughing me when I told everybody that I did not believe in the Chiefs and that they were not that good for all of the reasons that you talked about. And then what happened? I feel like Charlie Brown and Lucy keeps pulling that football out. So you could go there, Ryan. I will not. No. I can't go with you there this year with Rashee Rice returning unless he's suspended for 6 games or something like that. If not, I've got to see it happen. I'm sorry, and a large majority of Bills Mafia reserve our right to feel that way.
No, you got to see it happen.
When we got ready to play the AFC divisional round, I told Whittle that I was way more nervous about that game than I was for the AFC Championship game. Should we get over?
I was too.
Game. I was way more nervous about Baltimore than I was about the Chiefs. So I've already been down that road.
Baltimore's a more dangerous team.
I know. I'm not gonna count them out until I see the Bills do it.
Right. No, and I understand that.
I mean, what do you want from me?
Baltimore was big for McDermott too.
I understand that. I would look at Mahomes and say, has Mahomes had nearly as great a year as Allen or Lamar these last 3 years?
Of course not. That's why it's crazy that he was still number one among execs in that Jeremy Fowler piece. I can't believe.
I could say it's almost like the whole verbiage. It's gotta catch up to them at some point. You know, and it did. It did. It against Philadelphia. They had no answer or anything. Philadelphia.
It was a destruction. It was a destruction.
Yeah. So I think I'm wondering if that's the start of it. Will there be a time in this season where the Chiefs are like 7-2? Or 8-2 or something like that, of course. But to go all the way back there again, I think that they didn't necessarily realize that the ship is moving, and it's moving a little bit quicker than what they had thought. I could be wrong. I could be having an ego moment, but I think the AFC West is getting so much better, and I think that's something that the Bills are actually going to be able to hopefully. That's where the Bills can actually take advantage, is when the AFC East take the 1 seed and ride that in the final season of Highmark Stadium. That's what
we need that, right, Whittle? You talked about injuries all night. We talked about injuries all night. We need that, right? That's important, right? I say that on my show.
That'd be one less playoff game we would have to play. I'll say this, Ryan. That's an excellent point, and I don't think that we can look at the Chiefs and say because the talent around the division or conference is getting better, that changes or moves the needle for them. I don't think it does. I remember watching the 2021 divisional game when Josh Allen throws that ball to Gabe Davis in the end zone, and he walks off the field with 13 seconds remaining. They pan over to Mahomes, and he is unbothered. Ice water in his veins, bro. I can't look at the Chiefs and say that they're going to be phased or stumble because of what's happening around them. I think what's going to hurt the Chiefs is the fact that L'Jarius Sneed is going on 2 years now that they don't have L'Jarius Sneed. Like this is year 2 that they don't have L'Jarius Sneed. He was their boundary lockdown corner. And they have been trying to replace him, and they haven't been able to do so yet. Now, they drafted a kid, Noah Williams, out of Cal, I think it was. Let's see what he looks like throughout this year. That's a problem. They lost Thuney. So they're moving the tackle that they took from BYU last year. I think it was BYU. And they moved him into guard. And then they signed a guy from the 49ers, like Jalen Moore or something like that. So let's see if that works. If that works, then their offensive line is really good again. But if it doesn't, I think those two
would you say that that's enough?
Issues. Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like if the Chiefs' offensive line isn't good enough and that secondary doesn't hold up, yeah, they're cooked. I mean, they're still going to be a great team. They're still good enough to get to the AFC Championship game. They're still good enough to win the conference, but they're very beatable by the Bills and by the Ravens.
We said that last year too. So I mean, I don't know what you're saying. If you're saying that they could be one of the final 4 teams, then they're going to be they're inevitable. They're like Thanos. They're going to be right there again. Then
so the thing, it's like that whole graphic I remember they showed.
Thanos lost.
What was
I
the
understand. I understand. I'm just saying though, I'm inevitable in the end game one before the last.
What was their record in 1-score games out of these?
It was crazy. That's why.
Right. That's a good point. That's a good point. And they win the Denver game on a blocked field goal. They win the game against
the Raiders. The Raiders game was crazy.
The Raiders, yeah, that was another one. They win the game against the Panthers on a very, very questionable roughing the passer, like very questionable call to get in the drive.
They beat the Bengals. They beat the Bengals on a pass interference.
They beat the Bengals off of a terrible pass interference. A terrible call.
It's football.
Yeah. So that's fair.
Y'all basically saying that the luck is going to run out, and it's the law of averages.
I think
it's a law. Yeah. Eventually, these things have to come back towards the mean. I feel the same way about the Commanders, but yes, the no call versus the Falcons. That was another one that the Falcons should have had the ball first and goal in the end zone.
Well, then to bring it back to the Bills, fellas, then if everything is regressing back to the mean, then we've got to be honest with our audiences. And I appreciate greetings from Nickel City Crew. I appreciate y'all bringing me on tonight. But one thing that I'm going to be pounding into my audience this year is do not expect the turnovers to be the same. Don't expect that.
Oh, no.
And that's both offensive but that affects Ryan. That affects the defense.
No, it does.
Hold on.
I want the sack numbers to go
wasn't
up.
that great last year. However, they were the beneficiary of many short fields. We think about the Jacksonville game, the Miami game. There's different situations where the defense is setting the offense up with turnovers. If you are expecting that turnover luck to be the exact same, the ball is oblong. I just think that we're setting ourselves up for disappointment if we think that the turnovers is going to be so skewed. We gave up the ball at a historically low amount, and we took the ball away at an historically high amount. It can't be the same.
I don't know if they'll take the ball away as much as they did last year. DeMar Hamlin, it was like feel good moment every single week when he would pick off the ball. Those were some feel good moments. We can't.
It was a lot of turnovers, right? And we did not give the ball up.
We were extremely efficient.
I'm hoping the sack numbers go up. I want to see them get after the quarterback. That's what I've been wanting to see since they were last able to do that when they had Mario Williams and Kyle Williams and Jerry Hughes, the Colt front. Exactly. And Marcel Darius. Can't forget about him. So that's what I'd like to see. That's what I'd like to see them get after the quarterback. Put some fear into the quarterbacks that they play. They play a lot of great ones. So that's what I'm hoping to see.
My point is that we inflate this offense so much, or last year's offense, 24 offense, and glamorize it so much where they were the beneficiary of a lot of turnover, what they call turnover luck. And I just don't want Bills Mafia to expect the same type of turnover luck this year. And that helped the stats. That helped. I mean, the stats weren't even that crazy, but yes, 30 and 30 rushing, 30 throwing for Josh. That's an amazing stat, and most points the Bills ever scored in their history. Like, that offense was not better than the offenses that we talked about in previous years of the Bills. It just, they had turnover luck, and it was
They had field position.
It was amazing last year. Do not expect again. Please don't.
I gotta jump in here really quick. Now the Coast to Coast podcast, the people that watch this regularly, or the people that are in spaces, they know that I'm a researcher, especially when it comes to this football thing. So you say it's turnover luck, but it's actually not. Last year we had 32 we forced 32 turnovers last year. You know how many we forced the year before?
Oh, I don't know.
31.
Okay,
you know
how many times did we give the ball away? How many times did we give the ball
That's
away?
the difference. The difference is the difference is not, it's not that the defense it's not that we forced more turnovers than usual. We just took better care of the football. And why on earth would that change now? We still, but listen, why would that change now? Let's go back to when Brady took over in 2023. Let's go back to that. Right? He took over right after the Denver game. How many turnovers did Josh have in the Philadelphia Eagles game? How many turnovers did we have against the Cowboys?
0, because we ran the ball all day. We ran it all day.
How many turnovers did we have against the Patriots?
They're going to run the ball.
How many turnovers?
But
I'm just saying this is the byproduct of this iteration of Joe Brady's offense.
Oblong football to lose it 6 times in the season again.
Listen, I expect us to take care of the football. If we didn't have a ton of interceptions and scored as many points as we did and had the offense that we had last year with the wide receiver, Mac Hollins at 32, Amari Cooper at like 31 years of age, what do you think we're going to do now with a 26-year-old Joshua Palmer and a 25-year-old Elijah Moore? 4.3 speed Elijah Moore. Like Joshua Palmer, who's top 10 win rate against man coverage last year. Like, I'll give you the film. I can show you the film from the San Diego Chargers game where Joshua Palmer had Trent McDuffie and the rest of those guys in a blender. He just didn't get the targets. But I promise you, Joshua Palmer
are decent against KC, to be honest.
No. He made Trent McDuffie and those guys look average. He really made them look average. But I'm telling you, get this guy with a gunslinger like Josh Allen. Come on, brother.
I don't know. It's
come on. Like the type of separation that, like, you said you like guys that you said you like the Diggs types, right? You said you like the Diggs types, the guys that's going to create separation. That's Joshua Palmer. Now, he's not the receiver that Stephon Diggs is. His hands are not the same. His hands are not as quality as Stephon Diggs. You know, championships games against Kansas City, notwithstanding, of course, because Diggs' hands are terrible against Kansas City. But outside of that, yes, Joshua Palmer is a lesser receiver than Stephon Diggs. But how do we know that he can't be more than what he is? Because what was Stephon Diggs before he came to Buffalo?
He was
a nice, young, up-and-coming receiver.
He was a great receiver.
Was he great?
He just didn't get the targets. That's why he wanted to leave.
Was he great?
Mike Zimmer.
Come on. Was he great? He wasn't great. Let's be honest,
remember
Rob.
the Minneapolis Miracle? Stop. He was a great receiver. He just didn't get the targets with Mike.
That was a great play.
Please
he was an ascending alpha.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah.
He was an ascending alpha.
I'm
playing on a pass-heavy team. They played on a pass-heavy team with a wide receiver 1 in Adam Thielen, right? A pretty good slot option, and a pretty good run game, right? With Dalvin Cook, right? Pretty solid offensive line. Kirk Cousins, like they had a good team. They had a really complimentary team.
They had Adam Thielen. They had Cook, like you talked about. They had the quarterback, and Diggs wanted out because he could see the shift to a running type of approach, and he wanted more targets because he thought that if he got more bites at the apple, he could be elite. And he was absolutely right, because he was the best wide receiver in a 4-year stretch that ever put on a Buffalo Bills uniform. So please.
So now we have Joshua Palmer entering the conversation, right? I'm not saying he's going to come here and have 120 catches and 1,400 yards. I'm not saying that at all. But what if he comes in and he has 70? What if he has 70 receptions and 800 yards and 6 touchdowns? Would you take that? Couple that with Shakir's 70 receptions and 900 yards. When then you add in Keon Coleman had 27 receptions last year, 552 yards. What happens if Keon Coleman gets 40 receptions this year, 700 yards, 6 touchdowns?
He's going to get more than that if he stays
think
healthy.
I believe that as well. But that's my point.
Yeah.
When you add all of these different younger, more athletic, faster skill sets that complement each other. You have man. If the team wants to play man, okay, fine. I'm going to give you Dawson Knox, who can stretch any one of your linebackers or safeties down the field. You can't put a nickel guy on him because they'll just bully the nickel guy. Or if you want to go with heavy personnel, I'll put Elijah Moore in the slot. Right? If you want to come out here and base, I'll put Elijah Moore in the slot and match him up with your weak side or your strong side linebacker and just go to him in the flat all game. And there's nothing you can do about it. Like, we have answers to whatever questions a defense can pose to us. We have those answers. And we have a quarterback that is willing to make that's willing to take those shots. I just think that what we struggled with last year, we don't have, I don't think that this roster, on paper at least, because we haven't seen it yet, I think that they've done an excellent job of building on, not surrounding, but building on what was built last year, building on it and building out. Like, we had a house last year. They just brought in a guy to do a deck and add a pool. So, like, all of the family functions are happening in Buffalo. We getting the 1 seed this year.
That would be
because we just got the deck in the pool at.
They drafted some. I will go back to reinvesting in the defense for a second, which we talked about earlier. So previously they drafted Greg Rousseau, physical freak. Boogie Basham didn't work out. Ed Oliver, we talked about him. I think if you looked at the production, where he was drafted, even the role that they put him in when he was first allotted into the defense wasn't a fit based on who was around him. Now I feel they've actually drafted different players this time. They've drafted physical freaks in the sense of the defensive ends, the defensive tackles, and yes, corner. I think Maxwell Hairston is a very solid pick. I was really happy about it. Still am really happy about it. Even happier about it when I saw that highlight of him like batting the ball down, today, just like that little clip. I feel like they've got a inside track with their defense that they didn't have. I don't want to say this verbatim, but it's the only way that it's coming to me in my mind. Last year, their defense was bend but don't break. That's what their defense was last year. And it wasn't going to work against Baltimore or KC for long or as well, right? So they went out and got all the defensive players that they could. I think that could be the difference if those guys hit, if those guys stay healthy. If my grandma had, she'd be my grandpa. You know what I mean? Like, grandpa. Yeah. So I know I'm seeing a lot of ifs, but they are counting on this to be the difference because I think last year was like what we've been talking about. What's the difference? Where have they gone wrong? And I get it because this team needs to get it done. That we can all agree on that. This team has got to get it done at some point. As long as they got Josh Allen, they have to win a Super Bowl. And I share Rob's greatest fear. 20 plus years of my existence, they were trying to replace Jim Kelly. They couldn't do it. They couldn't find the guy to do it. They finally found the guy to do it, plucked him out of Wyoming, the back ass of nowhere in Firebaugh, California. I didn't even know that was a city or a town until Josh Allen. So, you know what I mean? Like it has to happen. Like but we know very well that in sports, the best team doesn't always win. And I felt last year more than any other year when I my head hit the pillow. More than 13 seconds, as close as that was, I could not go to bed that night thinking KC was better than us last year in that AFC Championship game. It was so damn close. It was one call in the game that we didn't mention, the fourth down and the chain moving, and now there's a microchip in the football and all this ridiculous bullshit that was never in the game until the Bills got screwed. And I will be the one to say that in that moment, whether that would have made a difference in the game end result, I don't know. But that was some Buffalo bullshit right there. That's what I refer to as some Buffalo bullshit. And I think that those moments are the exact same moments that we're all thinking about as this offseason goes down, and we hope that they make the team better. I think they've done a lot of things to make the team better. And to Beyond's point, I think they did things to make the team better that were within their limits, whether it's financially or priority of keeping their own and then going out and getting some guys. I think they did that. I've combed through every which avenue in which they could have made this team better in a different form and fashion. And I don't think it's as good as what they've done. Now, if you were to say a year ago, are you 100% satisfied that they traded down rather than trading up for Brian Thomas Jr. or Ladd McConkey? Rob knows my point on that. I would have said, no, I want one of those guys. I want Brian Thomas Jr. I want Ladd McConkey. I want Roma Dunze, and that was before they were rumbling about trading Diggs. And that was before Gabe Davis was a free agent and they let him go. I felt like they need another wide receiver with those guys on their team. So I understand that whole argument. And I understand it even now, but we got who we got. There's a few guys that we don't know enough about to say whether they're a bust. I can't categorically say Dalton Kincaid's a bust yet. I got to see more. I can't say Keon Coleman's a bust yet. I got to see more, but it has to be this year.
It better be this year. Thank you.
They gotta do it. They gotta do it. I agree.
It better be right now for Kincaid. Maybe not Coleman, but Kincaid.
Those two players are the key to whether they get to the Super Bowl again or whether they don't.
That's right.
On offense.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Words call the Josh Allen turnover on downs because they gave us a terrible spot, or the Cole Bishop interception that never was, that ended up turning into a one-handed Xavier Worthy reception off the ground inside the 5-yard line.
You got it, Ryan. I made a decree on my show. You guys, I know you don't listen to Nickel City Crew every week, but at the end of the season, when we were wrapping up our season 4, I would not take any slander on refs, or I just am done with the excuses. I'm sorry, Whittle. So I'm not the person. I was done with excuses, and we had a guest on that night, and he, Justice General Radford, and he wanted to blame. I just don't have the energy for it. I don't have the energy for it.
The game was too big. The game, and I get it, Rob, but the game was too big and too important.
For what?
To the whole.
You want to say that the spot was wrong? You want to say
no?
Wrong?
I'll say I can't.
Somebody that said that the spot, the one guy spotted it here, but then he passed the ball to the other ref in his other hand, and that's why we lost. It's like I just don't have.
No, I'm not saying that's why they lost.
It's not WWF for me. I don't have.
That's not why they lost. We know why they lost. I give my analysis as to why I think they lost. They can't get after the quarterback. They couldn't get after the quarterback last year.
And Spagnuolo and Reed are better than McDermott.
That's a part of it. You could say that's a part of it. We'll just say that it is, just for the sake of it. But the game was too big and too important to Allen's legacy, Mahomes' legacy. You even throw Sean McDermott in there.
Of course, you better.
It was way too important for a stupid. I've coached high school games. I've never even seen that in a high school game, let alone in a National Football League.
You're talking about the spot?
The spot,
no,
the Xavier Worthy thing,
bro, like that.
I've never seen that before.
It was bad. Yeah, it was bad.
I've never seen that before.
We didn't lose because of that.
I believe
No.
that was that a third down. I think that might have
It was
been
a
a
third
second
down.
It
down.
was a third down. It was a third down. It was a bad call.
That makes
We
it
didn't
even
lose
worse. That
because
makes
of
it
that
even
call.
worse
There's
because
bad
we get
calls
off the
every
field
game.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Listen,
They
So-
go both ways. There's bad, shitty
I-
calls both ways every NFL game. They love it. That's part of the gambling. That's a part they add that into the spreads and stuff like that, the human metric. I mean, it's not baseball where you have the strike zone where you can go to an automatic strike zone and
Hey,
you can
even that's pretty bad nowadays.
I'm just saying,
Rob, the chat,
My point is
Rob,
that
the
it's
chat is
subjective.
killing you.
They
The
miss
chat's
calls.
killing you right now. The chat's coming after you.
How
full
many
force right
times
now.
how many times have they gone to the review and then we're at home watching with our friends and
Sure.
family, like, oh man, that definitely that's got to be overturned, and then they come back and they confirm the call anyway. So like, it doesn't.
In fairness, nothing will ever be as bad as the Tuck rule, and we'll just leave it.
Nothing.
I don't know. Here's
And
what
that's
I don't know.
Rob. You bring up a great point, and this is
You know what
where
else
I'm
was-
at with what you're saying. Right, you're right. The calls, we cannot leave it up to the referees, which is why you invest in the defense, because you have to get off the field on third downs. The blueprint's there. The Chiefs have lost 3 playoff games in the last 5 years. 3. And the one game against the Bengals was just them not playing well. Like they just had an uncharacteristic cheap, terrible game. But Tampa Bay, the defensive line got after Mahomes. They revamped the entire offensive line after that game. The Philadelphia Eagles last year got after Mahomes like we've never seen before. The blueprint's there.
Yep, they took the Philly blueprint, or this is their attempt at trying to assemble something that is slightly like Philadelphia. 100%.
You know, the other thing is too, Little. I remember we spoke about this. The Bills actually got the Mahomes on the average quicker than the Eagles did. The difference is the Eagles have Q Mitch. The coverage was so good for Philly that it held it.
It was terrible
we
for
lose
us.
Benford. Yeah, we didn't have the depth. Our depth got exposed. Really, really. bad.
Elam's tripping over his own feet trying to follow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was bad.
Oh,
I always get a little frustrated when, we do talk about just Elam in that game, because yes, he was really bad. He was getting targeted.
they were all bad.
They were all bad. Rasul Douglas was horrible. I love Rasul. I got his autograph right over here. I love Rasul Douglas. Great guy.
He
but
was bad all
He
season.
was gimpy. He was on one knee.
No. He was bad all year.
Mhm. Yeah.
He was especially bad that night.
Rob, I promise, Rob, we can sit down in this space. I can break it down for you week by week.
He was bad. He was bad all season.
He was bad all season.
I thought he
bro.
caught a bad rep because he wasn't making the splash plays like he did when we traded him from Green Bay.
I'm from East Orange, New Jersey. You know where Russell Douglas is from?
Where's he
East
from?
Orange, New Jersey.
East
There
Orange.
was nobody going to defend Russell Douglas. That's a Buffalo Bills fan harder than me.
Like you.
Harder than us
Mhm.
sitting here in East Orange, New Jersey.
Pretty cool.
The Bills fans from Jersey. We're going to defend him. And I went to the numbers and I said, "There's no way. There's no way." And there was a way. It was that way all year. It was bad. It was bad.
Well, defend this, fellas. As I think we're beginning to wrap up tonight. Defend this. Since I came on here for McDermott, I have to stay on brand. Beyond,
Okay.
I have to stay on brand. I would
It's
like
okay.
for
Listen,
you all
Fair.
to chew on these numbers. I heard him. Now, I will give credit. I heard him on WGR. Maybe it was like a week and a half ago, right before camp started, and I don't even remember.
WGR.
Can't remember. No, but I can't remember. It was a guest. A guest was on, and I can't remember who was on, but he gave his stats, and it wasn't Tyler Dunn, but it was one of those guys, man. But he gave stats. Here's what it is: Sean McDermott, our head coach, who a lot of the Bills Mafia genuflex to and praises him for ending the drought and that he doesn't eat dog biscuits like Rex Ryan, and he walks on water because he doesn't make a buffoon out of himself and run a frat house. So here's what I'll say about him. He's a defensive coach, as we all know. His defenses have given up an average of 33 points in playoff losses. In addition to that, because I know injuries are coming down the road from Whittle, but I want Beyond and I want Ryan to chew on this as well, because I already know what Whittle's going to say. In addition to giving up 33 points a game in playoff losses, did you know that our head coach against Kansas City, he gives up 35 points per game just against Kansas City in those playoffs, as opposed to a 25 point per game output for the Chiefs against other teams. So that means every time the Bills line up in those last 4 out of 5 years, he's going to score at least 27 points against us. And he averages 35. The other teams, he scores 25. Now, how many did we score? The other game was 29, right? 29. This past. Okay, gotcha. By the way, 17, who we all love, who walks on water. What did Whittle start the show? Said he pisses excellence. He is the best quarterback since 2020. He has 25 touchdowns and 4 picks since 2020. So in the right, yes, obviously.
In the playoffs. Yep.
8. Now, Whittle talked about this earlier in the podcast. 18% of the Bills' opponents' drives ended in turnovers. Can't bank on those, is what I would say. 30th in the league in drives reaching the red zone last year. Listen, man, if you are giving up 35 points a game to one opponent every single time y'all match up and lace them up, I have run out of places to look, and y'all see, I have run out of places to look. So for the Jason McDaniels and all the other people trying to hit me on the chat, y'all want to listen. I pride myself on staying in logic, trying to stay out of emotion as much as I can, because it's an emotional experience. We're fans. Fan is short for fanatic. We're supposed to be emotional. That's what makes us fans. I pride myself on staying out of emotion as much as possible. Sean McDermott's teams show up the smallest when the lights are the biggest and the brightest. And that is a problem for me. And it has been a problem for me since 13 seconds. It is not anything I run from. Greetings again from Nickel City Crew. I don't tell my audience to run from it either. Embrace it, confront it, and figure out what you want to do with it as a fan, because it's your fandom. It's not my fandom. It's Beyond 716 fandom. It's Whittle's fandom. It's Ryan's fandom. It's all the people in the chat fandom. It's your fandom. You do whatever you want to do with it. Since 13 seconds, I've been ready for Josh Allen to be led by an offensive coach, because every year I don't want to worry about a new offensive coordinator, whether he's good or bad. It doesn't matter if he's shitty or if he's great. If he's great, he'd be like Joe Brady. And is Joe Brady going to get hired this year? And is he going to leave us? And if he's shitty, he'll be Ken Dorsey. He'll get fired. I don't want to ride that wave. Right. I never wanted to ride that wave. I wanted Josh Allen to be ushered with Andy Reid or McVay or Shanahan. I wanted him to ride along with his head coach throughout his career on the offensive side of football. 35 points per game they average against us in the playoffs. They average 25 points a game against everyone else. That's 10 points a game in the playoffs. You know how big that is of a margin? And they scored 27 and every time they laced it up against us. I don't know where else y'all want me to look, man. I'm sorry. I promise, we're almost 2 hours into this. I don't know where else y'all want me to look, and I know you're going to tell me injuries. And I'm about to blow your mind, Rob. You ready for this? Please blow it. Okay. If you can blow these stats out of the water, then I'll shut the heck up. I won't blow it out of the water. I won't blow it out of the water with stats. I'll blow it out of the water with reality. Okay. The reality is, this goes back. You always got to go back to the beginning when you're talking about the present, right? What led us to this moment that we're talking about right now, where Sean McDermott's defenses are getting gashed by teams in the playoffs in general, as you mentioned, as well as the Chiefs. It all comes down to the boss. It all comes down to Terrence Pegula. That's the guy that calls the shots. I know. You know that, but what I'm saying with this, your fandom. I know. I didn't say fire him. No, it does. No, it does have to do with my fandom. Because he owns the two teams that I root for, and one side of the fence in the Buffalo Sabres, he's made every which mistake and then some that you can think of. And with the other team, the Buffalo Bills, the fact that he's had the success that he has had. He is rock the boat. Not going to change it. So the choice that I'm making with my fandom within that and knowing that is I can only judge the on the field stuff.
despite the clock management issues that are 13 seconds is the obvious one, but there's way more than that. Despite the over-reliance on aging players, I love Jordan Poyer. I love Micah Hyde. I've met them both. Love them. Great guys. They're on this team for too long. They were on the team for too long. I felt it. I felt them aging out. There could be for a few reasons why they were here. I don't know, but there's been a lot of miscues that Sean McDermott has made. But I know one thing for certain. He's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. He's going to be the coach. He's going to be the coach.
I've told
for as long as Terry Pegula wants him to be.
And
I'm not saying that's right.
The Sabres help exasperate that. I agree.
Right.
How is it McDermott's fault? How is it McDermott's fault that the players were here too long? Isn't that the general manager's job to go into the draft and have a plan to?
Yeah, transition. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it's McDermott's fault that the players were here too long. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that that's a part of Terry Pegula's reluctance to make decisions when they really, really matter. When the moment is hot,
he gets tight.
He gets tight, and he does not like to break.
He almost cried when he had to fire Phil Housley, and Phil Housley was horrible, and Ralph Kruger was horrible. The Sabres are affecting the Bills.
I do.
He let the Jack Eichel situation fester for years, and it got really bad.
Sabres are affecting the Bills. Beyond,
it's an apples to oranges comparison, though. There's a lot of factors in hockey. There's the cap, hard cap. There's no trade clauses.
He doesn't spend to the cap.
There's a lot. Yes,
the fan bases are just as passionate, though.
No.
And that's
I agree. Listen, you're talking. Whittle knows my rants about the Sabres. He hears them all the time, so he gets it. And I understand it, right? In that context of it's hard to compare the two sports right now, just because the way that they're run. Right, Pegula with the Bills is giving Brandon Beane the tools he needs to go out and get what he needs to get done, and I stay within that pocket. The other thing about McDermott, guys, listen, your 35 points a game point is actually good. I think the next 2 years for McDermott, in terms of his defensive legacy, are on the line. Beane has now given him the tools on the defensive line through the draft. And other players, we needed some more nasty, right? We spoke about that. We needed more physicality. I think the Bills are getting that now. We've transformed this defense into a unit. I think it get it done. The next couple of years are going to tell the story because we're not getting rid of McDermott after this year, guys.
You guys are all right. You absolutely.
Unless Sean McVay says, "Hey, suddenly I want to leave here. I live in Southern Cal. He wants to leave LA and go to Buffalo." I don't like who's out there, right? Who are we getting? Right,
guys,
but you're right.
What happens to the defense? What happens to the untalented defense full of 7th round picks and full of day 3 picks and UB walk-ons?
Now you sound like Nautica in the chat. We've never had good defenders. We've never had good defenders.
No problem. I won't even use that. I won't even use that.
Please,
no problem. How about this? This is my response to what Rob is saying here.
So corny.
Do you know what the average points per game against the Chiefs is when the Buffalo Bills have played them over the last 4 years in the regular season?
I don't know. I just know they scored 35 against us.
No. That's a playoff game. And I concede that point. 100%.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking. I don't care about the regular season. I don't know.
Okay. So let me explain to you. Let me explain to you why it matters. Let me explain to you why it matters. Okay.
Because we've never had the one.
The Bills give up. The Bills average. The Bills allow 17 points per game from the Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season over the last 4 years. The difference between the teams that are playing in the regular season and the playoffs are what? What's the difference between the Bills roster in the regular season game and the playoff game?
What's the difference?
Christian Benford's playing. Christian Benford's not playing. Terrell Bernard's playing. Terrell Bernard is not playing.
Injuries. Okay.
But is it not valid?
We have.
Is it not valid?
We have 4 examples, Whittle, and I love you.
And we have 4 sets of injuries. We have 4 sets of injuries.
4 examples. And it's always injuries.
Is it not, Rob? Tell me.
4?
Rob, tell me when we've been healthy against the Chiefs in the playoffs.
What do you mean? The AFC Championship game, we lost. Our coach kept kicking field goals. And then when he went into halftime, he kicked another field goal. Then after the game, and I talked about this on Nickel City Crew, you could check me in my archives. He said, I wanted to give my guys juice. He actually used the word juice, and we're the team that had O.J. Simpson, and I wanted to throw my laptop across the.
What's wrong with that?
No. Listen,
I want everybody to pay attention to what Rob is doing.
Not that we were better that day.
Rob brought up the last 5 years, right? He brought up the last 5 years, right?
Then
he goes back 6 years to 2020. Okay, because you know we're season ahead, right? We're in the 25-26 season. You've gone all the way back to 2020.
I'm talking about the 4 losses to the Chiefs. That's what I was talking about. The first time
no problem
was that we were ahead of ourselves and that we were what do they call it? Wet behind the ears. I got my baby. She's 9 months old. She's sleeping in the bed right now. What do they say? Similac still on the breath. They that's what they said, right? Our coach kept kicking field goals.
That offensive line had Darrell Williams playing. That offensive line had Darrell Williams.
I never said that we were going to win the game. You're not. You're
that
missing
offensive line.
You're missing my point. My point is about McDermott. McDermott said after the game.
But the point is that we lost. That's the point. Overwhelmingly, right? It's that we lost.
We got blown out that game. They were better than us.
Okay.
I never said that they weren't.
Okay.
All I said was that our coach. At the end of the game, they asked the coach a direct question. Coach, why'd you kick field goals down? What were we down? Ryan, what were we down? We were like 9-6 or something like that, right? We were up 9. We were up early, and then he kicked field goal to go up 12 to
9-0.
Right, 9-0, and then he kicked another one to go up like 15 to 9, and then they exploded.
It was very frustrating.
Right, of course, it was frustrating. Ryan just grabbed his hat, Whittle, and said, "Yes, it was very frustrating."
Rob, you know that I know the frustrations. I get it. But I'm one of those people that if I allow myself to get mad about something that I know is not going to change,
I'm not mad.
You should be mad. You should be mad. Everybody should be mad.
That was the AFC Championship game. I could even say that we had Similac on our breath. I was okay. The next year was 13 seconds.
Everybody should be mad.
Mafia that should ever stand up for this guy because of that. People lost their jobs over that. They never told us the real reason. What happened? He fired Smiley. They told us nothing about the defensive coach.
Hold on. They actually did tell us the reason.
No,
they actually did tell us the reason.
What was the reason?
They actually did tell us.
They didn't tell me.
No, you didn't want to hear. You didn't want to hear the reason, but the reason's out there. Sean McDermott got in front of the cameras and he said, "This loss is on me.
No,
it's on me. It's my fault. I should have made sure that I relayed the information to the special teams group myself. However, there are players." And coaches from that 2021 team that said Sean McDermott told Smiley to squib kick it.
Gotcha.
And that call got to players on the special teams unit.
Gotcha.
But it didn't get to Bass. Why?
Hey, even after the squib kick, you run that play you run the rest of the sequence of the game 1,000 times on Madden. My sons will beat you 1,000. They'll beat you 999 times. How about that, Whittle?
Beyond made a point.
Times. They'll beat you 999 times out of 1,000.
Need my popcorn. I need some popcorn here, ladies and gentlemen.
One time. You might win that game in Madden, Whittle, against my sons. One time with 13 seconds.
I can't give Sean McDermott the credit for how passive that defense was.
Exactly.
In 13 seconds. I cannot give him the blame for that when I watched the 2023 defense be way more aggressive when he was the defensive coordinator. Am I right or wrong?
You're forgetting that Leslie Frazier decided to part ways. Baloney.
Exactly.
That was baloney.
Of course it was bullshit. We said that on the podcast that that was bullshit. That should have set all the radars up for Bill's Mafia.
Oh, it did for me. I mean,
it was fine for everybody. Go ahead, Ryan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Who is Leslie Frazier's boss? And go ahead, Ryan.
Sean
tell me
McDermott.
who lost
Sean
this.
McDermott.
Man.
Beyond
Come
made a
on,
point
man.
though that I wanna just give a little pushback on. I do want to say I don't want to make it seem like I was comparing hockey and football. I know they're run very, very differently.
Yeah.
I get that. It's very, very hard. The NHL, I think, and the NFL are as talented and as skilled as they've ever been. I would say NHL hockey's more skill, finesse. NFL, you know, built a little bit differently. But
Yeah.
in terms of running a business, I can't say that I would know how to run a business better than Terry Pegula. The guy's a billionaire. He's the richest, you know, biggest name in Buffalo. I can't say that he didn't know how to run his business because his business was what allowed him to buy the Sabres and to buy the Bills. But I can say there's a difference between running a business, fracking or drilling holes in the earth and getting that oil, and then a difference in hiring and firing executives to run your sports team. And the first guy that he hired, the first guy that he brought in was Rex Ryan.
Oh yeah.
When Rex Ryan
didn't know what he was
failed,
doing. He had no clue what he was doing.
he had no clue. And
Rex
you
Ryan was his name.
gotta remember, I will hold this opinion. I don't know if it's fact, but this is just my conspiracy theory. We would not have Brandon Beane if it wasn't for Sean McDermott. They brought in McDermott when Whaley was
You're absolutely right about that. You're absolutely right. Do you think Beane is great? I think Beane is pretty good. I think he's above average for.
I think Beane's better than McDermott. I do. I do think he's better than McDermott.
And guess what? Guess what, Ryan? You're in the minority because not many of the mafia feel that way, and they genuflect to this man because he broke the drought. And I think that but I think that portion of the fan base that does that, Whittle, that does that beyond 716, I think that you guys are misguided. He is not.
You guys.
The people that love McDermott.
Okay.
The people that love McDermott, I think that they are misguided because they are so happy that we are not shitty anymore, that you have now misplaced that. It's almost like Stockholm syndrome, and you have gone to your oppressor and you are now loving your oppressor because of the fact that, oh man, this is so much better than when I had no water. Now I get water every day. And now not only do I get water, what have we been to the we win the division 5 years in a row? I get a whole jug of water every day. I don't care about water. We're supposed to be swimming in the pool. Josh Allen, we're supposed to be at a resort. It's not about the fact that he doesn't make an ass out of the organization anymore. It's not about that. When I hear Bills Mafia members that compare him to Rex Ryan or to the drought, you are missing the point. It is time to graduate. It's time to graduate your thinking. It is okay to want the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then you go on Twitter and you say that, Whittle. You go on Twitter and you say that, Beyond. Oh man, this Super Bowl bust this year for the Bills. Oh, stop being greedy. This and that. Don't you remember the drought? You are all small-minded Bills fans to me. We are not equal. We can all be members of the same mafia. You're not equal to me when you hit me with that rebuttal, because that lets me know that you still are in a drought mentality where you're trying to tell me that I'm supposed to genuflect to some man because he broke a drought that should have never been existed for the first place. 17 years in the NFL and it's created on parity with a salary cap. That shouldn't even happen. It was beyond ineptitude that we went that long without a playoff appearance. I'm not going to give him credit for breaking the drought off of a team that was a minus 58 point differential when who's his name? Tyler Boyd caught that ball from Dalton. What was it? Andy Dalton. Yep. I mean, come on, man. I'm not going to give. I can give him respect. He runs a real organization. He doesn't run a frat house. I'll give him respect. He broke the drought. I think the players generally like him. I don't think that they all hate him or anything like that. But I'm not going to kiss this.
Hey, they'll run through a wall for him.
Okay.
After the Tyler Dunn article, they went on a run. We got to the playoff.
You know what?
I'm just telling you, we were listening. We were 6-6. We were 6-6. I mean, I think we were 6-6 or 6-5.
Yeah, we were.
When that Tyler Dunn article came out.
It was on the brink.
6-6.
Tyler Dunn. Tyler. I love Tyler Dunn.
I love Tyler. Good buddy of mine.
Buddy of mine too.
He knew what he was doing when he wrote that article.
Okay, no problem.
Of course. That was a tank job. Let's be honest. But let me say this. Let me say this before we get out of here. Rob, I'm going to turn that back on you. I'm going to turn that back on you a little bit. Rob, I think you're one of those fans that suffer from a little PTSD. Whatever could go wrong will go wrong.
No, I don't think that.
When it comes to the Buffalo Bills.
I think Josh Allen is too. I am consumed by his greatness. How about that? And I tried to explain that early in the show, and I'll shut up for the rest of the show. I am consumed by his greatness, and I am gripped by fear. And I did try to explain that. I was honest with you guys earlier. I'm gripped by fear.
So my question is,
I'm gripped by fear.
When Sean McDermott's defense got him the ball back in 2023, and he had the opportunity to throw that drag route to Stephon Diggs, and last year, where was the greatness? Where was the greatness?
Guess what? That is the stuff that Bills Mafia never wants to talk about. You're absolutely right. And guess what? This week is the defensive preview. Next week is the offensive preview. And I found a guest from Buffalo Rumblings. I won't spoil my own show, but I found a guest from Buffalo Rumblings. One of the top people at Buffalo Rumblings is going to come on the show. We're going to talk about exactly that, because you're absolutely right. If you want to, listen, we're either 4 points either way, right? We lost by 3 points, so we either need 4 more offensive points, or we need to drop down and not give them 4 more points. You're absolutely right. The offense had the chance to win the game both years, and we didn't get it done. Nobody wants to talk about that. Whittle, is that sexy? Would you be wearing that shirt?
I do.
Like, would you be wearing that shirt though? Come on, nobody wants to talk about that.
Yes, I would.
Nobody wants to talk about that.
Listen, I understand that 17 is human. No, but I understand that Josh Allen is human. So I understand that we have to operate from a level of grace. He's not always going to make the right play. And sometimes he doesn't. He fails. And that's what makes him great.
Allowed him to make those plays. Right?
Wow.
If he made every play, he'd be a robot.
Sometimes those weapons are not around him to make those plays. What happened last year in the critical moment on that Dalton Kincaid play, or was it the play before? He threw a screen route to Cooper. And what did they say on that play? Yeah. Oh, revisionist history. Oh, well, Cooper just got tripped up, or he just got, and he would have been why are you throwing a horizontal route on? Listen, maybe he didn't have the horses, Whittle. I don't know what to tell you, but you're absolutely right that 2 times the last 2 years he had a chance to win and he didn't. You are absolutely right. You are not wrong about that. But that's not popular. So, that's not popular.
The grace that I give Josh Allen for the last 2 years, I would love to see if you could give the same grace to Sean McDermott for 2020 and 2021.
I am hard pressed. I am hard pressed to. I get where you guys are coming from with the Josh Allen stuff in a way, like in that moment. I get it, but I am really hard pressed to criticize anything related to Josh Allen at all. And maybe that's just me.
That's your love for him.
No.
Talk about those stuff that he didn't do well.
It's not even a love thing. This team would be shit if he wasn't on it.
But that is secretly, Ryan. When we're done with the show, that is a secretly drought mentality type of feeling. Because underneath, it's like, listen, my quarterback could have done this, or this on this play.
It goes back to what I'm.
But man, we wouldn't even be in this damn game.
It goes back, it goes back to what I was saying.
Mechanism.
Rob, it goes back to what I was saying. It goes back to what I was saying about Terry Pagula. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm bringing it back around. This guy fell out of nowhere, the back ass of nowhere. I said that earlier. This guy, they did not know that this guy was going to become what he's become. They didn't. They say, that we developed him, and those things are ifs. When you draft somebody, no one knows what a guy is going to become. Trevor Lawrence was talked about as the next like Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning. The guy hasn't done shit in this league. Hasn't done anything in this league with the supporting cast that he has. If to your point, if Josh Allen had a BT Jr. and some of the guys that he's been able to throw the ball to, or even I could go on and on about some of the guys that they've lauded as being the next big thing that have been nothing in this league. And Josh Allen came from essentially nowhere. They go up, they get him, they bring him in, they quote unquote develop him. And they can say that, Brian Daboll did this, Brian Daboll did that, which he did. But they can also say that in the case of Allen and being a MVP caliber quarterback, he won the MVP because of what isn't there, which also includes the point of Sean McDermott. That whole thing that we watched in the beginning of this show, the guy's parameters for winning the MVP, most of the MVPs, at least back in the day, were players that were not on the best of teams around them that elevated the guys around them. This team would be shit if he wasn't on it. We would be
That's
talking about
water is wet though, Ryan. That's like saying
it's
water
not.
is wet.
That's my the point that you're making. The
position.
point that you're making about Sean McDermott not being an effective coach.
When
the
the
wins
lights
and
are brightest,
losses,
when the lights are brightest,
when
I
the
don't care about
lights are
regular season.
brightest,
I don't care about
when the
regular
lights
season.
are brightest, are when Josh Allen's not on the field, Rob. Josh Allen's not on the field for the moments that
Oh no!
that Sean McDermott shits on himself.
Oh, please do not turn this into I'm blaming Josh Allen. I know
I'm
out
not.
that Whittle was correct that he did have the ball with a chance to win the game, and 2 years in a row we did not get it done. It was not all on Josh. I mean, 2 years ago they want to say, well, Stephon Diggs dropped the ball. I pushed back at that because there were other plays that could have been made, and we don't even know if he was going to score a touchdown on that play. Last year he did have the ball. I mean, we looked at the clock; it was 3:33 left. What did everyone say afterwards? Oh man, we lost the game and that was horrible. We still stopped them and had another opportunity to get the ball. We couldn't stop them. So that, I don't know.
But this
man.
goes to the point that football is a team game. And it sounds so cliche, but it's hard to blame one side without blaming the other when the end result was Buffalo's defense lost, Buffalo's offense lost. They lost the game.
29 points to win you the game. I'm sorry.
Can I ask you a question?
I'll go to bet on that. 29 points to win you a game.
Do you think McDermott's a better coach now in 2025 than he was in 2021?
Absolutely. Yes, he goes for it more.
I do. Yeah.
I agree. I think he's evolving. I very vividly remember Whittle. I grew up in Central Jersey. Yes, it exists. Philadelphia. And I distinctly remember a coach here, WGR in Philly. Questionable calls, questionable clock management.
You're talking about Andrew Reid.
Not Andrew Walter Reid,
Talking
ladies
about
and gentlemen.
Andy Reid.
Over 20
Andrew
years.
Walter Reid.
That's his middle name. Okay. He was 207, 128 and 1 in his first 20 years. 15 playoff appearances, 15 and 14 in those playoff years. They would be saying the same thing about him.
They fired him beyond. They fired him beyond. They did fire him.
I just want to finish. No, well, the Eagles fell off a lot with their management too. They had a lot of issues. It was a time to move on.
Okay.
But it was more of a mutual thing.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that it's coaches evolve, right? Andy Reid has gotten a lot better at it.
Of course he did. And Patrick Mahomes has helped him evolve.
Some of those decisions he made in the McNabb era. I shake my head sometimes. Like, what is he doing? Like, unbelievable. So
but Patrick Mahomes has helped him beyond, right? Have you not? Can you not
absolutely
agree to that?
No, Andy Reid has won with Michael
NFC
Vick.
Championship
He's
games.
won with.
I think he's done a lot more to help Mahomes.
Yeah, it's a two-way street though, too.
I think it's a two.
Nobody ever talks about L'Jarius Sneed being there for multiple Super Bowl runs and literally taking away everybody else's number one receiver. Like L'Jarius Sneed erased those guys. Let's talk about Chris Jones. Let's talk about the best interior offensive line in football over the last 5 years. Like it's not just one player.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just one coach. It's a collection of all of these different different things, that these different players, these different coaches, these different moments that deliver a team from the championship game to a Super Bowl, and from a Super Bowl game to the Super Bowl win. So it's a collection of all of those things. And we talked about these rosters. 2023, the Bills had 70 had over a quarter, almost a third of their salary cap unusable in dead cap.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year, which was last year,
it's a big reason.
This past season, we traded Diggs. We were supposed to have no receivers. We were supposed to be in a soft rebuild, and the Jets were supposed to win the division. But we still win 13 games. That defense consistently takes the ball away between 27 and 32 times a year, every single year. The only difference is last year we didn't give the ball away as much. So we're headed in the right direction. The coaching has gotten better. The players have gotten better. The quarterback has gotten more mature. The offense is more complementary and diverse. The only thing we've been lacking has been the level of talent on the opposite side of the ball from where the quarterback is. I think we've addressed that. I think that this year we've addressed that. And now it's time to the rubber's got to meet the road now. One thing I think you and I can agree on, Rob and Ryan, I'm sure you're in this boat as well. I know Beyond and I have talked about this on this pod.
Mhm.
There's no more excuses.
No.
We have depth.
Yeah.
We have
Thank
depth
you.
on the defensive side of the football now. If Trey
Jason
White
over
goes
here calling
down,
me a hater. No, what else are the excuses at?
if Trey White goes down, you've got Dorian Strong and you've got Maxwell Hairston. If Daquan Jones
I wish
goes
they
down,
didn't sign Trey White, to be honest, but that's another talking point for today.
Why? Because you want to just clear the road.
vehemently
You want to
We
clear the
will
road
not
for Mad
allow
Max.
Trey Light
vehemently
slander
You want
on
to
disagree with
Coast
that.
to Coast
clear.
podcast.
You want to clear the road for Mad Max.
That's the one
Make him
thing
earn
that
it.
we
That's what
might.
he wants. Yeah.
Make him.
That
earn
might be
it.
the one thing we disagree on, Whittle.
Make him
I
earn
just don't. I don't get it. I don't.
What do you
I don't
mean by
see
that?
it.
It's insurance.
Give
It's
me one
insurance
second, guys.
policy. It's an insurance policy against Elam happening again.
Does he?
Yeah,
is
okay.
this as
Policy.
one?
Flash movie trivia. I'm sorry, I gotta step in. Like this is the second comment that's probably about 4 years too late. Like these criticisms are all outdated, sir. Like I appreciate you stopping in and watching, but like these criticisms are like really
Oh, the
outdated.
comment. Let me see. here.
Yeah, like it's a little outdated.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, man. Yeah, like we're way past that now. I mean, we're way past that.
Well,
They brought in Brian Daboll and created an entire offense filled with 7-yard hitch routes, option routes for Cole Beasley, and deep curls for John Brown to make sure that we ease Joshua Patrick Allen into becoming more of a stand in the pocket, deliver the football quarterback than a guy that's going to take off and jump over linebackers. So I agree that those criticisms were valuable, but they were valuable in like 2020. So I mean, we're here now.
Back to the Trey White thing. The reason I didn't like the signing is I don't know what he's got left. I don't know what he's got. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he's still got.
They said he looked good today.
something.
They signed him as an insurance
it's
policy.
But of course they're
Ryan,
going to
but
say look good day one of
No, I'm saying,
training camp.
but
he
be
played-
mad that it's insurance, man.
He played pretty
I
solid
want
for
my
the
insurance
Ravens
to be
down the
good.
stretch.
I want my insurance to be
You want a premium coverage package?
yes. I want a
Okay,
premium.
well, we
yeah.
don't
Okay.
have that, man.
He wasn't
That's
that
the
bad
first
for
round pick
Baltimore.
on
He was
his hand.
solid.
We don't
So
have that.
so
We
Ryan,
got Dane
Ryan,
Jackson.
you remember when Trey White opened the season in 2023? The
Mhm.
first like 4 games. He was excellent against Garrett Wilson in game 1. For Garrett to score, it took the catch of the year, right?
Oh, dude, I
The-
love Trey White. Love.
But the comparison I'm trying to make here is that 2023 was year 2 off the injury.
Mm-hmm.
This year is also year 2 off the injury. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be what he was in 2023. But if he's 85% of what he was those first 4 games, that's a really good cornerback.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope he honestly, genuinely, not just from the Buffalo Bills perspective, but from like an athlete, like not even me being the athlete, but like rooting for an athlete and hoping that they can come back. I hope that he can do what they want him to do or what they're hoping that he can do. I just have my doubts just based on the injuries, obviously. That's all. That's it. And I hope there's times where I hope I'm wrong. You know, like the things I think, I'm like, man, it would be beautiful if Trey White could be even half of what he was when he was in his, first injury rehab, to your point, Whittle there. So, but we'll see. We'll see. I hope that more than anything, if he's just around Maxwell Hairston, just feeding him, Sean McDermott defense tidbits, and he makes Maxwell Hairston a better player, that's the last dose or chapter in his legacy, I should say. That's good enough for me. That's good enough for me. He could not even take the field, and if he just helps Maxwell Hairston be a better player, then that That's all I really need. But if it's
I-
insurance, if somebody goes down and he has to step in and he doesn't look like the guy that he even was, then we have a problem, and that will hurt this defense. Make no
Well,
mistake about it.
here's the good news, Ryan. He doesn't have to be the number one guy like he was when he first was here.
Right.
Right. Number two, you're right. As long as he's solid, he knows our system like the back of his hand. He'll get that veteran insurance that I think this team needs right now.
They do
With
need
Strong, with Hairston, I think it's a perfect time.
it. We need veterans in general. The team is
Yeah,
extremely
yeah.
young.
Yep, and I think it's a very
That's what
low
we
risk,
wanted.
good reward kind of move with Trey.
Mm-hmm.
If Hairston takes it over and just blows us out of the water early, and Trey becomes a backup, it's still a good move. I'm still okay with it. It's 1 year. It's not like they signed him for multiple years.
Mm-hmm.
The term was fine, so I was very happy with bringing back Trey White.
Yeah, and I think he's going to end up starting week 1. But I know you don't want to hear that, but but again, so it's like 11:30, and we got to wrap this up, gentlemen. I hope
8:30
to
for
do
me.
this
Alex.
again.
Yes.
Yeah, it's 8:30 for you. I know, right? I got to be
got
at
no
work tomorrow. But
excuses.
listen, I hope to do this again, and I hope to do this
Definitely.
again soon.
Yes.
I appreciate both you guys coming on. I appreciate all 692 people viewing right now. Thank you. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you guys were, I don't want to say entertained, because I don't think we're here for entertainment, but we are here to represent our opinions. And I hope that you guys learned something. I hope that you guys feel like your opinions have been voiced. And yeah, man, like we'll do this again, man. So
Definitely.
Rob,
Ryan, sign off,
Rob
man.
and
Ryan,
Ryan.
sign off, man. So I can sign off.
No. This is for you guys. Like, this is your moment to
go ahead, Ryan.
let the people know where
Promote your
they
show,
can
man.
find you.
Where can we find you on Twitter?
Yep.
Sure.
Close
So,
yours.
of course, my podcast is the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I'm going into 2016. Will be my 10th year in this racket. 10th year. So you can go back and listen to all the shouting over Tyrod and Peterman and all the Josh Allen stuff. I say that jokingly, but you literally could on my YouTube channel, the Thomas Take Sports Podcast, as well. Follow me on Twitter at Ryan Thomas Take. Wednesdays at 8. My show is on live. Just had one at 8 o'clock. Talk to all things, players that I got my eyes on for training camp. 2 players under the most pressure. I gave you guys kind of the tidbit on that with Dalton Kincaid and Keon Coleman. But of course, I really love this fan base. I love the area. I've been a Buffalo kid, Buffalo man now, of course, and I really hope one day this town, this region gets the chance to
get that parade,
get that Niagara Square parade that we deserve. City Hall, a hell of a celebration. That's what I'm hoping for sooner rather than later. And again, I really appreciate you guys having me on the show. Whittle, keep doing your thing. Beyond, I've chatted with you on my Twitter Spaces too, and Rob.
Yes.
Always a pleasure, dude. I really appreciate everybody's passion in here and what everybody brings to the table. Everybody's got their own unique skill set that I think fits really well. And I look forward to doing this again and look forward to returning the favor and having you guys on my podcast sometime soon.
Would love that.
For sure.
Yeah, man. I echo all of that.
Public enemy number 1, Rob Griffin.
Beyond 716. Beyond 716. I really appreciate you inviting me into your space, and that is sincere as well.
Thank you.
I really do appreciate it. And Whittle, you already know we go back and forth. We like brothers, man. Now at this point, man, the way
Yes, sir.
we've been
Yes,
back and forth
sir.
these last couple of years. So I really appreciate your space again, Rob Crippen. I am the co-host at Nickel City Crew podcast. You can check us out every single Friday now that the season is back in full swing. Every single Friday at 6 o'clock on all the spaces, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. We go live every single week at 6, and I really appreciate it. Ryan is right, man. We all have different perspectives. We come at it from different perspectives. I am about to be 40 years old next month. I am an 85 baby. You see it right behind me. Those Bills teams shaped me, and they shaped my fandom. I have been a season ticket holder since 2009. I'm Buffalo born and raised. I've lived down here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And since 2009, it was like a crack addict. I was scratching like Pookie in New Jack City. I was scratching. 3 years later, I had to get season tickets, had to be back around my Bills, even though I was down here in Charlotte like LeSean is. And listen, man,
Nice.
I'm diehard. The 90s Bills shaped me, and now Josh Allen is getting ready to make me a made man. So I really love Bills Mafia. I love the different viewpoints. And that's really, as a black man, as a man of color growing up in this country, you better be ready to hear somebody else's viewpoints or you are going to get buried. You better be ready to accept other people's viewpoints or you will get buried. So I've kind of been adverse to that growing up as a black kid in the suburbs. So it's all good to me. I love fighting with Whittle. Whittle is he's a knockout to me, man. You're running a great show over here, man. We really appreciate you inviting us on here tonight. And check us out, man. Listen, check us out. I mean, if y'all want to keep going, McDermott, y'all keep going with him. Y'all do what y'all want to do, man. If we get a parade, I promise y'all never talk shit again.
Hey, listen, guys.
That is literally all.
We're gonna go get matching McDermott tattoos after we win the Super Bowl.
Oh man, I could care less.
McDermott in a wrestling singlet tattooed.
I take it all
I would do
back
it. I promise.
I
would
take
do
it
it
all back, man. I take it all back if we get there, man. That's all I want, man. So that's really it for me as we close out tonight. The 90s Bills shaped me, and those 4 straight Super Bowls, I was 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I was heartbroken as a kid. So I just want to see us get one, and it'll all be worth it, man. It'll all be worth it.
Hey, listen, guys, just real quick, Whittle. I just want to give a massive shout out to the group chat tonight. Tremendous. You guys were amazing. Jason, Nautica, Steve, Tina, so many of you were great. It was just back and forth. Rob was getting roasted in there. He was getting in there. It was great.
I don't back down, though. You see, I don't back down.
No, I love it.
Yeah, Rob is in there.
Walkout song. Tom Petty.
I'm swinging elbows like Karl Malone.
There's many reasons. There's many reasons why I love doing this pod with Whittle. There's a lot. I could go on for a while, but one of the bigger reasons is because we're not afraid to talk about things that others may not, right? And you both, you brought things to the table that maybe didn't sit well with a lot of Bills fans, but it's okay to have those conversations, right? It's okay. You're a fan. We're in this together, right? I'm not Buffalo born and raised. My dad's the OG Bills fan. He's got the Buffalo roots.
I was wondering how you guys were in Jersey.
My parents divorced when I was just an idiot, when I was very small, I'm 51. So I go back to the Bills of Joe Ferguson. I'm a long time, but I still feel that Buffalo's my second home. I mean, I go up there. I don't need GPSs to get around. They know the air like the back of my hand. I've been there so many times. So I get that special connection with Buffalo. Little seen it a lot too. So I really want it more for you, everybody else, than even myself. I can't imagine what that's
Ryan is still there in the trenches, man. I would never move back to Buffalo.
He's still there in the trenches. And I'm a passionate Sabre fan too. I'm a passionate Sabre fan too, and they drive me nuts. So, by the way, Saturday I do a pod, Ryan. If you're interested in Sabres, we do a Sabres podcast
I'd love
Saturday
it.
mornings.
Sounds
so
great.
Join us. So come on board.
I'd love it.
At 7 a.m. I talk Sabres.
I got a lot of the fire that Rob has
you can come
times
on
50.
Yeah.
Sabres.
We'd love to have
you on. Are you being honest, Ryan?
No, I am at the Sabres. I am.
Ryan,
okay, so it is for me for the Bills.
Ryan, send me a message. Yes. Send me a message. Maybe we'll have you on.
I'll tune in. I'll tune in and I'll comment. I'll get in the comment section.
That sounds good.
But I just wanted to say that. But I'm going to give the floor to the man, the myth, the legend. And by the way, next week is our 100th.
Don't do that, man. Don't do that.
It is our 100th podcast next week, I believe.
Congratulations, y'all. We really appreciate the
invite. And I'm looking forward to that. But thank you so much, guys. It's been great. Go ahead, Whittle.
It's a pleasure.
Close us out.
Thank you. I mean, I'm overwhelmed, man. I think this was a great podcast. And one thing that I when we started this pod, beyond the one thing that I talked about, the mission was to educate the fan base and then to have better conversations surrounding the football team. So by having conversations like this with astute gentlemen who understand the game of football at a higher level than wins and losses and touchdowns and field goals, I enjoy this. And the more that we do this, the less we have to have knuckle dragging comments like, "Oh, we need a wide receiver," even though we kept scoring, even though we're the number 2 offense in the league, that you get from WGR. We want to be the anti low level conversation podcast.
That's
We
what's up,
want to
man.
just
No, I
have
like it. I like
an
that.
educated, fan base
Yeah,
that understands football at a higher level. Because when you I think when you understand it at a higher level, you have a different level, more direct and pointed set of expectations
and you can have
that
better
are not just
conversations.
better conversations, but you also have targeted expectations that you can put on your team. It's easy to blow a fan off who says, I think we should win the Super Bowl every year. But it's not easy to blow a fan off that spends his money on season tickets and says, I understand that we can't win the Super Bowl every year, but there's no reason for us to continue to mismanage the cap, and there's no reason for us to continue to extend old players that don't help us get better. When you have pointed conversations and pointed criticisms like that, general managers, owners, they have to listen and they have to do the right thing. So I'm glad that we're having these conversations, and I promise you this: when we win the Super Bowl, we will all meet up on that street
100%.
in downtown that I can't pronounce the
Yes.
name of.
Yeah.
Chippewa.
And
Chippewa.
yes.
Chippewa.
We-
Oh, you don't
we
know
won't-
Chippewa?
we-
Chippewa, yes.
Oh,
We
yeah,
won't be able to
oh,
pronounce the
yeah.
name
Go
of
to
it
Jim's
either if they
Steakout,
win
get
the
some
Super
chips.
Bowl.
Go to Jim's Steakout, get some
We're gonna
subs,
be on
and then go right to
Chippewa.
Niagara Square.
We're all
And-
getting together for dinner,
Yes, sir.
guaranteed.
Yes,
I'm
100%.
bringing a nice bottle of Douce, and we're gonna have a great
Ooh,
night.
I
And
love
hopefully
Douce
we
too,
end
man.
up
All right.
and hopefully we end up in our
I'm going.
rooms and not a cell the following morning.
I love
But
it.
And then
again, everybody, thank you guys for joining. I appreciate everybody coming through. Once again, this is the Coast to Coast podcast featuring Little 2K. It's me, Beyond 716, my co-host to my right. And thank you again to the Nickel City crew and Rob, my guy Rob Crippen, and thank you Ryan Thomas again
Thank you.
of the Thomas Takes podcast. And we are looking forward to doing something with you guys going forward. Thank you, everybody. We are out of here. Y'all have a great night, and as always, go Bills.
go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.